Live from Frasher Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road, Phoenix, Arizona. You're listening to Real Hockey Talk. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Dave Isaac alongside Greg. And, Greg, this is a tremendous barbecue place.
I smell all the good stuff.
I'm not kidding. At Frasher's Smokehouse, 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down. I mean, I tried lunch here just the other day.
You were telling me about it,
Man,
how great it was.
And George Frasher, the owner, of course, had me sample a bit of all the meats they have. Not all of them, but turkey, tri-tips.
Oh.
They do have brisket. I didn't try that.
Yeah.
The burnt tips were phenomenal. I got to tell you. And I really enjoyed it. The baked beans were just, it reminded me of I don't know if you remember, in the San Fernando Valley, they had a Love's barbecue.
I remember Love's, yeah.
And I think it went under or out or something.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of those baked beans, and those were the only baked beans I ever loved. And it's truly a tasty place here. So come on down. We're here till 4 talking some hockey. We got a great show today at 1:30. The state of Arizona Senator from the 20th District, Anthony Kern, will be calling in, talking about the new bill introduced by Senator Bob Worsley from Mesa, SB 1149, whether the Coyotes will be funded somewhat by the state of Arizona. We'll talk to him about that. 20th District is part of Glendale, so I think we know which way he'll go on that one.
Yeah.
2 o'clock, Rick from Boston, who lives in Phoenix, however, in Boston today. He's actually there. He'll call in and talk some hockey. And I hope I pronounce this guy's name. He's very well known at 2:30. Greg Wyszynski, editor, Puck Daddy, Yahoo Sports Blog. The guy knows all about hockey. We'll talk hockey with him as well. Then 3 o'clock, we have Lindsay McCormick, broadcaster, NFL analyst, and actress, calling in at 3. And our in-studio guest will also be Russ Brendan, who's a Patriots fan. And I think he might be in charge of the Patriots fan club. They had 500 people when they watched the Patriots a couple weeks ago.
The fan club, like, based out of Arizona or something?
Yeah, in Arizona.
Okay.
So,
all right.
And then 3:30, we got really a heavy lineup. 3:30, Sean Donnelly from Rick Bronson's House of Comedy will be coming down and listen to him. He's funny. And he's performing tonight at the House of Comedy.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff, and we'll talk to the owner, George Frasher.
I probably should have looked at the guest list that you sent.
Yeah, this is a big guest list. The last couple of weeks, huge guests.
Sure, yeah.
But interesting, starting off with the Coyotes. Well, yeah, they beat the Kings.
Playing a lot. They're playing a lot better, per se. And, we thought... I was higher on them, I think, coming into the year than you were, Dave. I thought they'd contend for a playoff spot or be in contention till the end, probably not make it yet. Obviously, that won't be the case. But one thing about it, I think we both felt, and others we talked to, is that, when you have a young core coming up, sometimes you will get better, obviously, as the season goes on, and they are. Some of these guys, the Vorac's look much better. But we've seen, Perlini since his call-up. Obviously, he's done very well. Even when he went on a little goalless streak there and stuff, doesn't matter. 2 goals the other night. And so you're going to see more and more of that, but also a complete game, learning more with the NHL, because it's obviously a whole different league. And they're getting more accustomed. You can see that. Mike Smith has had a very good year. Even if the numbers don't look great, again, it's been a bad team for most of the year. And once again did well the other night. And, a type of game, again, you learn from it a bit. You get some breaks out of it. They scored some goals that, if an average goaltender is playing at least average, they probably wouldn't have gone in, and so that sense. But even with those breaks and getting those goals, you throw the puck on net, good things will happen. And, they, kept the Kings to the outside. I felt very well for the first 2 periods. The third period, the Kings had their big push, and, and so they're getting more to the middle.
Bad goal disallowed, I thought.
That was, yeah. No, it was a type of game where you almost think if it goes another few minutes, it's going to be tied, but then... Right. everything gets deflated. Yeah, Coyotes got a break there, but also, you look at everything averages out in the end. In the first period, even though it didn't go in, Adrian Kempe in his first game, it's sort of interesting because a little stick to the hands of I forgot who it was defensively. It might have been Stone or Murphy. And then he ended up getting a breakaway. Now, he didn't score there, but that was one of those plays I was surprised. I was like, whoa, and it back and forth stuff does happen, but a thing like that, I mean, I understand the referee. You got to blow the whistle when you lose sight of the puck. Maybe it went in before the whistle, but he was attempting to. It is definitely a bad break. For the Kings, change things around. But on the other hand, throughout a year, that stuff does happen, and
they have a
fight
couple
through
games
it.
in hand on some
LA, on Calgary, and
they had 3. Now it's probably 2.
2, yeah. And I think a lot of these teams still in the running for wild card spots there in the Western Conference. They have games against each other. I think LA, I'm sure, still plays Calgary at least once. And, and then Nashville, St. Louis from the Central, or kind of in all those St. Louis with Mike Yeo now as head coach, has really taken off. So they're sort of, cementing themselves now really in the Central Division to get a top 3 spot there. But it will be a nice fight there in the Western Conference for those 2 wild card spots.
Yeah, no doubt. And, of course, the Kings outshot almost 2-1, I think, the Coyotes. So, they still have some issues there, but they definitely look more comfortable, some of the younger players.
Well, that's true. I will say I don't know what the total actual scoring chances were for the game, but in the first 2 periods going into the third, and like I said, even though the Kings still, I think, had a pretty decent shot advantage going into the third, got to realize a lot of those chances were from the outside. In the third, it was a bit different. Definitely, if there's not some of those breaks there, you're probably looking at a loss. But you kind of learn from it still things that you need to do to hold it down a little more. But the Coyotes, I believe, had more scoring chances in the first 2 periods, despite that. Getting those opportunities in the middle, because sometimes that could be, I don't know if this is the right word, but overrated stat in a way. I mean, obviously getting shots, you want to get it to the net. That's the only way you score. But if you're shooting everything from the outside and aren't getting the bodies to the net or don't have those grade A chances, most of the time an NHL goaltender will stop those. But definitely in the third period there, the last 10 minutes or so, it's something maybe you want to tweak up a little bit.
Poor goaltending by the Kings. That was.
Peter Budaj had a rough game. I know Daryl Sutter after said he'd want 3 of those 4 back. The 5th goal, an empty netter, and he's sort of right. Like Perlini's, sure, he's on a 2-on-1. He's at a pretty good place in terms of a scoring opportunity, but you get a big piece of the puck and it goes in. So when you look at that overall, it does happen. It'll be interesting to see. Jonathan Quick's been practicing.
Oh, really?
And so maybe we'll see him back here in the next couple weeks, maybe early to mid-March, which, depending on how much rust he may have on him, that could be a huge thing. Even though Peter Budaj's done great, his numbers are great, but, still, even if numbers-wise seem similar, it's just the overall mindset of a team or some of the deflation when there are some of the weak goals allowed. But, it's definitely a team that doesn't allow a lot of great chances against because they're, defensively obviously still very structured and very good in that regard. So, you have a lot of that. Dave's looking for something. I'm wondering what he's looking for. He looks concerned.
One of my iPads.
You have 2 iPads with you.
My tablet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have 2 with me.
Where did it go?
I don't know. Did you take it out?
Yeah.
It's the one. I haven't seen it. You sure you took it out?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll look in just a minute here.
Funny. Okay.
Unless it's under the table.
It could be.
Yeah. I don't think it is. Under the cloth here.
Let's remind people we're here at Frasher's Smokehouse.
Yeah.
3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. This is such a great place, and we'll be here till 4 o'clock. Now, what we have is, it's interesting. It's been reported Shane Doan hasn't asked Coyotes for a trade. And I thought, a couple weeks ago, we thought he did. But
no, he never did that. He was
Yeah.
just saying he's more open,
Yeah.
possibly, than before. But no, it never to that extent. If the right situation would come up, which I still believe it's possible we see it now, because I think this could be his last season. And
Yeah.
again, winning a Stanley Cup obviously is huge. You do know the difficulty behind it and the comfortability wanting to retire with this franchise, being so loyal and being a part of. On the other hand, we'll see here in the next, 10 days or so what comes out of that. I think they found his thing. It was under the NBC tablecloth. Yeah, there we go. And so you look at it like that, and I could see him still being open. I almost give it a 50-50. In the past, I never leave, but this time a little different per se, I think. Does he take that chance? He would dictate really where he would go.
Sure.
Possibly San Jose, or if he is willing to go east, which I believe he would be, maybe a team like Pittsburgh's a fit. And they're favorites. And, again, you can't predict, because no matter how well you do, the parity, you never know. You go to a contender and you go deep in the playoffs but still don't get there.
Pittsburgh would be a nice pick, though.
Pittsburgh or Washington definitely would be. Or, and then even if San Jose, if he stays closer. I know San Jose's wanted him for a long time. So
yeah, and so it is possible. If you were him, who would you pick? I'd pick Pittsburgh. I mean,
in terms of winning, either them or Washington per se, it is so difficult. But yeah, I just think those two clubs just could be so dominant. Of course, come playoff time. Now Washington has had some dominant regular seasons here. They haven't been able to crack it and get a Stanley Cup, get there. But you still have Mr. Game 7 on there, and Justin Williams, and then all the stars and talent, Braden Holtby and net. And so one of those teams. And with San Jose, nothing against them. We saw them come out of the West last year, and they no doubt are a very good team. But I think there's more of a sure bet that we'll see either Pittsburgh or Washington come out of the East than it would be maybe to see San Jose come out of the West again. Not saying they're not the favorite or a favorite, but I think it'll be a little more difficult.
Well, a good test tonight for the Coyotes to see if they're really going to get some consistency as they do play San Jose at home tonight.
And they beat them pretty recent in San Jose as well. And
so that should be interesting just to see from a consistency standpoint. Some really good games tonight, actually. Oilers and Blackhawks.
Yeah.
That definitely is a good game. And who else is on tap? Lightning and not that good of a game. And Stars. Predators and Wild, that's not too bad.
Yeah. How about that with the Lightning and Stars going into the year? If you looked at the schedule in advance, you'd say, wow, that's a big one. Maybe potentially a cup preview type of thing, but both of them have had, their tough seasons and all that. And with Dallas, it sounds like they could be a seller coming up here in the next 10 days at the trade deadline, because they just have not really been able to get back into things, and there's still a bunch of teams that they have to jump over. They've played 59 games, so a lot of these teams in front of them actually have games in hand on them, except for Winnipeg, and so it's going to be difficult being 7 points back out of Calgary and playing more games.
Yeah, but I think some Coyotes that you won't be seeing is Hansel, Verbata, probably Stone. Now Ryan White's an unrestricted free agent, and I don't know. A lot of energy, but I'm not sure he'll be going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, again, you could get the assets, but I think you got to look at it like this: is that when you have a chance to get assets, you got to do that. It's about asset management, but you also got to look at, a guy like that, what he's bringing to the team, and the fact that if you do move him, even if you could re-sign him in the offseason, you're not really going to get a lot. And you could say, well, but get anything you can, though, keep stockpiling. Well, they've done a good job of stockpiling. Now, Hansel, obviously, that's different. Yeah. What he could get. And if they do move Verbata, which there's a chance he may not, because he really obviously loves it here, would love to re-sign again.
I heard Anaheim might.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. But there's definitely going to be teams interested. He's had a very nice season.
Yeah.
He's always fit in here. But, again, yeah, you can get, maybe a second-round pick for him or equivalent value, second or third. It could definitely be a seller's market in the sense there's not a lot of selling teams right now. However, over the next 10 days, that can change. And, Stone, I mean, any team would love to have a defenseman like that. I mean, everyone needs defensive depth, but, he's, 26 or, and he's a guy that, even though technically you could consider, rental coming up because of his age and everything, I bet a team that acquires him would really push to also try to get something done long-term with him before he reaches free agency.
Yeah, so I think coming up you're going to see some changes, and then again, maybe Shane Doan will be part of a trade somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I guess he has to balance off, how important is it for him to stay with virtually one team his whole career, which is quite unique, versus, having a shot at going further, deeper in the playoffs and maybe getting into the finals, which he's never been in at this point. So, 5 goals, 19 points, not his best year, but certainly. But, he could make a good playoff run, though. I mean, he's got the strength still. He's got the desire, the will. He's got the leadership.
I think that's why. I mean, the teams know just how motivated he's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, the situation with the Coyotes has definitely been better lately. Not just because you start winning some games, but you could just tell, there's more swagger. It looks like more fun on the ice, and these young guys getting that confidence. And obviously that rubs off on everyone else, and Doan probably feels great about that, seeing that. Because, once everything's said and done, unless he moves full-time, let's say back to, Edmonton or Alberta area, obviously Edmonton's in Alberta, but I could see him, still being close with the Coyotes even after he retires, whether it's an actual job, taking a position with the team, or doing some consulting, being close. And, the family obviously loves it out here.
Oh, yeah, and that's probably what would happen. And they know they would accommodate him easily, whatever. And he deserves it, too, actually, some type of accommodation. But we'll see. We'll know quickly, and I don't think the fans will be upset at all. I think they're happy for the guy that's been so loyal.
Yeah.
Could have made so much more money and been on, a different situation, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and even longer than that.
I do. I think many Coyote fans would really root on Doan. And even whatever team it is, even if he does get traded, let's say he goes and, he wants to go and to a Pacific team, stay close, for the last couple months of the year, even though, the California teams are rivals and stuff like that. Although I only see maybe San Jose as the place out of those teams. But even Edmonton or Calgary, more so Edmonton, because I don't think Calgary's going to make it, even though they're technically in a spot now.
Right.
But yeah, San Jose still would be the place there. But fans, even if they're like, our rival, they'll still root them on because
I think so.
Yeah, the respect factor.
I would agree. Now, what was Antoine Vermette thinking? Did you see the?
I did. Yeah.
No, really. I mean, was it just an automatic reaction, or did he not recognize a different uniform that had stripes on it that you shouldn't do that to? He gets a 10-game suspension.
Well, after the game, though, Vermette and his agent said alternate facts that they're going to use on this. And Vermette said, hey, this is fake. And no. I think you can never touch an official.
He actually made contact.
He did. I don't think he's a good guy. And he's not a dirty player or anything. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you could lose it a bit. However, I don't think it was malicious, obviously, to hurt the lineman. But nonetheless, you can't do that. And I know he's appealing it. I will have to double check again on when the appeal takes place. But so we'll see how everything works with that.
Win, even though if you look at it technically, it was more like not like a big hatchet job, but a sort of a tap.
Yeah,
it wasn't that bad, but I don't think he can win an appeal because if it's a referee it has to be no tolerance, zero tolerance.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
exactly.
why,
with that,
they got to make a point, because if he goes down to 5 games and they go, see, a little tap on a referee is not so bad, but no, it is bad, because it could lead to other taps. But it is unfortunate. But it was sort of, the announcers couldn't believe it. They go, did he just do that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, you never see stuff like that. Very rarely. I mean, there's times and. That you do see, sadly, some abuse of the officials, and in the heat of the moment things happen. But, yeah, this is just very bizarre, coming from him and just sort of how it went down.
Yeah.
But yeah, NHLPA requesting the review, and
sure.
We'll see what ends up happening with that. Again, yeah, I believe the 10-game automatic, all that could stay. I heard some feel it may end up going down to 5. So, again, I'm not sure how that all works out, per se.
Yeah, I'm going to bet now that they're not going to go down. I think
Dave has it on not going down, staying at 10 games.
Yeah, because because it's a rough. If it was someone else, I think it would. But now, wow, what a nice a compliment. We should compliment Sidney Crosby for hitting 1,000 points.
Yeah.
In fewer games than all but 11 players in NHL history. And, of course, remember, he missed quite a few games, almost 2 seasons worth.
Mm-hmm.
And where would he be? He'd probably be in maybe the top 5 had he not been out that long. He missed 18% of Pittsburgh's regular season games, since the 2005 season when he entered the league. And it's impressive still, no matter what. He's the 12th fastest to reach 1,000 points in terms of games, 757 games. He's 29. And, he, like I said, 167 games he's missed in his career. But other players have, too, like Lemieux and Bobby Orr. So you can't really count that. But it is impressive. So I wonder if you can name the 11 people that did it
faster.
quicker.
Oh, quicker. Well, Wayne.
Certainly number one in 424 games. A remarkable, different era, but remarkable.
Let's see. Well, Mario.
513 games. This might be tougher for you. I wouldn't have guessed this, but he's certainly a phenomenal New York Islander.
Oh, Bossy?
Yeah.
Okay.
656 games. The other guy wouldn't have guessed, but I think he was Colorado, I believe, for a lot of his career. And, or was it Quebec? I forget.
Sakic was Quebec, then Colorado. Forsberg came still when it was Quebec, but it was really Colorado. Stasny.
682 games. This guy, not surprising. Yeri Curry.
Well, Curry, we know.
716. Then we go a little bit further down. Well, no, about the same era. Guy Lafleur.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Another New York Islander with Bossy.
Oh, man, who else was there? Trache?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely deserves 726. Now going way down, way before your time, Dennis Savard.
Wait, is Dennis Savard? Way before the time.
Isn't that way before?
No, I mean, it's actually Trache and company were even before.
And then, not surprising, who's the Lightning GM?
Yes, Stevie Yzerman.
737 games. And then someone, definitely before you. Well, maybe it's the same time. Someone that I know, Triple Crown line includes.
Leon.
Yeah, 740, a very good accomplishment. Yeah. And then, now this is a guy before your time, Phil Esposito, 745.
Okay, sure.
So those are the 11. All phenomenal players, that's for sure, right?
Wow.
A different era, though, but still impressive.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
It's amazing, really.
And then we could go over later on who's next to reach 1,000 points.
Yeah.
They had 2 reach 1,000 points this season. Do you remember who they were?
Oh, the others? No, I don't.
Ovechkin.
Oh, okay.
And who's the other one?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I was hoping you would tell me because I forgot.
Oh, well, I'll check that out. How many games was it you said with Crosby again?
Crosby was, let's see, he was 757 games.
See, one guy I almost would have put on the list, even though he finished his career with just a little over 1,000 points, 1,013, but he was a prolific point producer. Unfortunately, he also battled a lot of injury. Pat LaFontaine, I was about to guess on
tremendous
your thing, and he only played in 865 overall games, so obviously he still got there pretty quick, and finishing with over 1,000 career points. But yeah, he's one of those guys as well. If he didn't battle the injuries, I think the concussion stuff and some others, wow. Yeah, what a player he was.
He was really good. Yeah, there's no doubt. But injuries, unfortunately, like Lemieux, I think if you look at what he could have done, maybe and probably beat the single-season scoring record, 199. I think he was on pace to go like 215 that year.
Yeah, well, no, isn't Gretzky? I think Gretzky got in the 200s before. I think 212-ish.
It might be, but I think Lemieux.
But he was still on pace to do. Oh, okay.
Phenomenal, really, if you think about that.
And then Lemieux's former line mate and Jaromir Jagr, 1,900 points this past week against San Jose.
And if he didn't
second
play,
all time,
3
right?
years in the KHL or where he went,
it would be interesting.
Where would he be? I mean, he'd be in the 20 easy.
Well, yeah, because he was still at that time technically in the prime. Maybe you wouldn't see the 40, 50 goal Jagr, but you would still probably average out with the way scoring was and everything in the 60, 65 range, even if you just take it at that. So, yeah, I mean, you could be looking at between 150 and 200 more points, around that 2,100, mark perhaps. And so it's interesting to kind of look at that. And who knows? I mean, he's going to keep going, it seems like. And still a very productive, very good player when you watch him out there and what he's done for some of these young guys on the Florida Panthers. And Florida's interesting. You have Huberdeau back. He'd miss basically all of the year up until recently. And so getting a guy like that back and, getting healthy, it's sort of interesting there. Kind of a fun team to watch. Anytime with Jagr, just, seeing him out there still. But
Incredible.
Some of the young guys,
So how long do you think he'll play? He wants to play to, 50?
He has said that before, And, there's a lot to play for now. I mean, like we said with Florida, they're back in this thing. They're tied with the Islanders, 62 points, but only a point behind Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Both of those teams are play the same amount of games for the second wild card spot. And so that's very much up for grabs there in the Eastern Conference, because you look all the way down and really realistically no one's out of it. I mean, I'd say Detroit, it's very close to that. And Carolina, it's going to be tough. On the other hand, Carolina has games in hand, but I just don't think they're as strong as some of these other teams per se. But if Philly could somehow get it going again, they're still in it. Buffalo has got themselves back in it. Can't even count New Jersey quite out yet. But I think at the end of the day, it might be Florida that ends up with that second spot. They're playing much better and getting some health.
That's right, and we're live from Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix, Arizona. Come on down. We're here till 4 o'clock. A lot of great guests coming in, and we will be right back after these words.
Spend your lunch break with Bob Kemp in the Sports Zone as he talks local and national sports. Weekdays from 11 to 2, all right here on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 and 100.7 HD2.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Real Hockey Talk live from Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. And I'm Dave Isaac. I almost said my name wrong. I do that often, but I do a little
quite a bit.
A classic English type of upper type.
Yeah.
Dave. Okay, yeah. Dave Isaac, alongside Greg.
You kind of have the teeth.
The teeth type
too,
of
right?
deal. But yeah, we were at the. Wow, this is a great place, Frasher
Smells
Smokehouse.
great. Yes.
Wait till you taste the food.
Oh, I know.
I'm telling you.
I'm looking at the menu now. I think I know what I'm going for.
I'm going for it too. Let's say the burnt tips.
I was thinking tri-tips, but yeah,
well,
you kept talking about the burnt tip. Yeah, maybe I have to go for that.
Yeah, it is very, very good. And, of course, we see an old friend that dropped by, Mike Smallwood, of course, the leader of the Arizona Rattlers fan club. Am I right? I am right. And they had a tough loss last night. The team they played, by the way, this in the Storm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, they haven't lost a game now in 63 straight.
Really?
Since 2010. And I was surprised and shocked, and really the Rattlers were leading most of the game, and there were a couple errors. I would say there was interception that was tipped. Run from for TD on the Storm's part, and the other notable play I remember is they almost sacked the Storm's quarterback in the end zone, their own zone.
Really? And
he ran back all the way for a TD. That's 14 points there. So they lost by 11. I thought they had a pretty good showing. I think. I think Kevin Guy tried to establish the run game.
Right,
so he wants evidently some type of balance. But it definitely scared the Storm, which are 6-time defending champs.
Of course,
game out,
if they haven't lost.
They had 5 returning Rattlers, a whole different type of game. And their first game out, they almost beat the 6-time defending champs. Never lost a game in 3 games.
That's amazing.
That's crazy, right?
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, to stay in like that.
I got to say, I do like this style better than the arena football.
Really? Okay.
A little more balanced, the run game, the split scene. There's a lot of action going on.
Yeah.
It's like a mini outdoor hockey game. I mean, a mini outdoor football game.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to.
It was good.
I
liked
I
it.
missed this first game, but I'll have to check it out. And
YouTube
I saw, and that's great.
Wow.
It keeps giving everyone a chance to tune in.
I thought it was really good,
not.
actually, to tell you the truth. So, anyway, this is Real Hockey Talk. We are at Frasher's Smokehouse, 3222 East Indian School Road. Come on down. A lot of fun here, a lot of great food. Got some TVs going, too. I'm watching golf right now as we're broadcasting. And we're expecting, hopefully we'll still have the state of Arizona Senator Anthony Kern talking about the bill that Bob Worsley introduced, SB 1149.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Bob on, too, maybe in the next coming weeks. Yeah. And, so, that'd be nice to hear their thoughts on it. I know where Bob stands on it. Not sure as much with Anthony where he stands, but we'll see his take on it. So hopefully, we're able to get him on today. If not, there's still the on ice stuff that's obviously been looking better for them lately. And but really, Christian. Yeah, Christian Dvorak, it's been outstanding lately, and so we're seeing some of these young guys really pick it up.
Gotcha, yeah. I think, let's see, we have someone from Scottsdale calling in for a couple questions. Can I get your name?
Yeah, my name's Barry. I love your show. I listen every week. Thanks for putting it on.
Thank you so much.
Got 2 questions.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
2 questions. One, can you summarize why such bad blood between Coyotes ownership and Glendale? And in your guys' opinion, you know a lot about the team, a lot about the ownership. Is it potentially reversible, or is it dead for them to stay in Glendale?
Well, I don't think it's dead at this point, because there is a bill, SB 1149, Bob Worsley from Mesa put in to get some funding from the state, a special tax district that came out of the committee just the other day. 6-1 voted for that, but it does have to go to the Senate for a vote, and if it wins there, it goes to the House. So,
but now, wouldn't that be though to build an arena though somewhere else? So that wouldn't be Glendale.
And that's one reason there's bad blood. I think they've they've always had some problems from the start. It was funded by taxpayer money. The city of Glendale owns it, the arena I'm talking about in Glendale, and they've had some. They were paying, I think, the Coyotes. I think it was like $15 million a year, something like that, to run the arena. And then there was a lawsuit filed by Glendale to break that part of the agreement, and there was a little bit of battle a couple of years ago. $15 million is $15 million, so it's a lot of money. They settled on no more $15 million, but it was a 2-year lease, which evidently got extended. It was going to be out this year at the end of the season, but it evidently got extended to next season. So they're under the gun. The regime in Glendale, we followed this, for 6-7 years now during the bankruptcy. It was very pro-Coyotes at one point, but then it flipped over when the new mayor, Wires, I think his name is, came in, and they voted against them because it was just causing so much financial difficulties. And you can imagine the city of Glendale now, they have this arena, and if they don't have an anchor tenant, it's a problem. I do believe Glendale wants them to stay.
Yeah, they
and
do.
I think Anthony Kern, who is scheduled to call in about right now, he also is against the proposal, SB 1149, to have them build a new arena. They figure, hey, you have a good arena right now.
Yeah.
Why not do some improvements, far less costly, keep it in Glendale? But the Coyotes, their fan base evidently is more on the east side of the valley. And so that's a problem, I believe, for the Coyotes long term to get people filling up the stadium. It's partly because they're not that good of a team either, though.
Well, I'm obviously with everything that has been going on with this. And now, Barry, in terms of maybe the bad blood ending, from Glendale's standpoint, and like they said, because they really do want an anchor tenant there. They want them to stay.
Right.
It's just in better terms for them. And now you have Anschutz Entertainment Group. They own the Kings and Staples Center. They're managing the arena, and they'll want the Coyotes to be there. So it sort of now goes though on. There's probably a lot that went on behind the scenes that really even increased some of the bad blood and maybe some of disappointment or anger maybe the Coyotes ownership has with Glendale. But I still definitely think it's possible, especially if this bill doesn't go through. I mean, they want to do whatever they can to keep the team here. And obviously it won't be as great of a deal before that the Coyotes originally had with Glendale, but hopefully something could get worked out. But I know Glendale would definitely come to the table, and hopefully if it comes down to it, the Coyotes ownership might do a little 180.
Well, let's put it this way. It's not really bad blood. It's all about the money. Because Coyotes really do not want to lose all the money they're losing.
Right.
Glendale does not want to lose all the money they could be losing without an anchor tenant.
Right.
So it has to do with money, because it's certainly a nice state arena. There's no doubt. I love it. It's a great area. But, again, according to the Coyotes, part of the issue is a lot of the fan base is out east, southeast, Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa, out there. Downtown would probably work for them, an arena as well. So, but it's the bottom line, because if you can't make it, you can't make it. If you don't have the money to do it,
right?
Like any business, like life itself.
Yeah,
so,
right. And I think when Glendale, they broke the original lease, and again, it may be in good reason, but I think the Coyotes look at it as just trust issues all around. I think with both sides, but very hopefully, if this bill doesn't work out, and again, I'm not. It's a lot of money, it seems like, and I'm not as familiar with that type of stuff. But hopefully, one way or another, they stay here in the Valley long term, whether it's working something out with Glendale or, if they do build something more out east, and have that be successful, that as well. But one of the two, hopefully, goes through.
And it's also a catch-22, because if you think it from a business standpoint, how do you build long-term advertising relationships when you don't know where you're going to be? part of the, one part of the city, the other part of the city, or maybe out of state or out of the country.
One of the reasons I called and asked this question is that a couple of weeks ago I saw in the Republic that several Glendale city or legislators or Glendale representatives had come up with a plan to keep the Coyotes at where they are now. And Anthony, maybe you can ask him, maybe he doesn't want to discuss it, came out with a very blunt statement. In the Republic, again, you have to say, was it right or not? Was he right quoted? But it was really negative about the notion of Glendale.
Yeah.
You mean Anthony LeBlanc?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And that's why, as of now, Glendale is more, willing to obviously come in. They don't want that arena like that. They're willing to make amends with their part. And as of now, the Coyotes, will it turn back around? I still think it's possible. And, I mean, again, there's so much that went on behind the scenes. Maybe Anthony LeBlanc, maybe some of it's justifiable.
I mean, so
much.
Though.
But what?
The solution is
counseling?
The solution is from The Godfather. It's business. It's not personal, Anthony. So, if you look at it, it's business, and that is going to control it because I got to tell you, feelings will be made up very quickly if there was a good deal for both teams. There's
a good deal will sell like anything. That will solve.
It's all the money. You just follow the money, and and it's a tough one for both of them because.
Right.
But, with the young team that the Coyotes have, can attendance start increasing as they get to be better? Well, it's hard to say because it is quite a drive in traffic for some of the people in the Southeast. And if their fan base is more Southeast, it sort of makes sense. But I don't think the state of Arizona, I don't think it's going to pass, though.
Oh, the bill?
I think it's going to be tough.
It might be a tough one.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
Now you got an empty arena, but you got a bunch of politicians, rooting for, hey, stay in Glendale. But that's a tough one because if you're in the wrong location, you're in the wrong location, and location means everything.
It does
in business.
Well, listen,
I agree
for filling me in. As I say, I love
your
show. I'll listen again.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking
my
call.
Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, that's cool. Thank you. Bye-bye. That was a good question. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll go more in depth. I'll have to call Anthony Kern and see what happened. I'm sure he's busy.
Yeah, it would be good. Other senators that, may be voting on this. And, I'm not as familiar with the whole political process. And, when you see on the original thing, hey, 6-1, that's great. But then I was reading more that said, well, obviously, it's good to have it pass, wanting the team to build another arena if you're on that side of the aisle. But on the other hand, then with all the different steps, it appears that was something expected per se.
Yeah. Well, a big blow was when ASU backed out.
That's the thing. And that would have been a fun situation. And, as a hockey fan, a Coyote fans, obviously you want something successful to come about. I'm not as familiar with, all the proposals with the money going around with things, so sometimes I'll stay out of it a little more. And, like when you look at when the lease was broke, it's like, oh, that's frustrating. Glendale did that, but then some of the numbers you look into, you go, oh, okay, I kind of understand.
They almost had to do that.
It's just so much involved, and hopefully this ends in our lifetime.
Well, yeah, it may or may. Well, yeah, in your lifetime it will, but probably not mine. But the thing is, ASU. I mean, it's all business. Even if you're ASU, it looks like they're calculating. Okay, well, the state's going to give us incentives, maybe, but what other incentives do we need further down line if you're an ASU? And so, do we want to burn it on this particular joint venture with the Coyotes?
Right.
And I think the answer was no, evidently.
Yeah.
So you got to look, overall economically, what's best for every party. And I mean, I'm sure their exit strategy, the final line, is moving. And actually, if you think about it, just financial. I'm not saying I would hope for this, but if you think about it, financially, probably moving might be better for the Coyotes, not for the fans, not for you, not for me, not for Mike, or not for any of the Phoenix type of people, but or Arizonians. But financially, it could. It's like moving from a bad location and moving your house to Beverly Hills. It could increase their value rapidly, instantly, if it's a Seattle, if they had the facility.
Right.
Quebec.
Yeah, and I don't think they would move to Quebec because I think if they did ever move, I mean, again, it could be way out, but I think to keep sort of out west, have those. Now, Quebec, I'm sure one day will get a team again. It might still be a few years away.
I think they will.
If it's relocation, would be maybe like the Carolina Hurricanes or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's possible. But you look at Vegas. I mean, how much they, they're selling 13,000, 14,000.
Yeah,
tickets.
and I mean it's a fresh
Impressive.
situation, and it definitely can work here. It's just the problem is from the beginning, there's just a lot of bad decisions that were made. If it all restarted now, if they moved here for the first time now,
would have been better.
Well, but it would have at the NHL level worked even better because those bad decisions from past ownerships and stuff that really got them in a lot of trouble wouldn't have happened because hockey. There's a good base of Coyote fans, but in general, it is very popular out here. And we've seen youth hockey and now Austin Matthews. It's grown so much. The youth hockey's been great here since the 90s. That's the thing. But it hasn't really got that national attention until recently with Austin Matthews. But teams know, in Canada, they'll know, this Phoenix team is coming down from, DYHA, and they're going to beat us probably. And there's a lot of talent out here for many years.
So, and we're going to go into that. I think Ed Smith and you and I, we're going to look at organizational excellence because, there's things hidden behind the scenes, too. I mean, how good is management?
Right.
How good the scouting? It's from the complete organization to understand, where the issues are. Why are they 28th, 29th in attendance? That's a tough one. You can't keep losing money. I think
right. No.
But anyway. So that was a great question, but we'll stay on top of this, of course, and get more information as it goes on. It'll be exciting to see what happens. It's cutting it close. Well, they have another year, but it's still cutting it close.
And they could keep, if they wanted
to,
keep doing the one-year thing. But, again, there's still that uncertainty. It doesn't fit well. Yeah, maybe extra costs, of course, probably with that. So,
wow.
But wish for the best, and it's worked out so far in terms of them being here, staying here after all the stuff that's going on. But you get to that point, though, you go, okay, one way or another, something needs to go back long term.
No doubt. And, again, we're at Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down, and I was going to say smell the coffee, but no, it's not coffee. It's great barbecue. Mike here knows about this barbecue. I think you were here last night with the Rattler fan club. And what's your favorite, Mike, by the way? Food. Probably I love the burnt tips.
Dave loves the burnt tips, yeah.
Ribs
Mike
are
likes
good.
the ribs. He loves the
what?
Yeah, everything's been good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I haven't tried it yet,
but
since I've walked in, was about an hour and a half ago, my mouth is saying need barbecue
it's
food.
Time.
And I think I am going to go with the burnt tips.
Okay, are you? Can't go wrong with anything.
Yeah.
The turkey was really good, too. Actually, I liked it. And they have this dessert. I don't know. It was, we have to ask them about that. It was just,
the butter cake, yeah.
I think that was it. It was just amazing.
Man.
So anyway, we were talking about the next players that will
hit 1,000
points.
Well, Henrik, of course, is the third guy that got it this year because you were mentioning.
Right.
So Henrik, Sedin, Ovechkin, and Crosby all joined the 1,000-point club this season.
And we know his brother will be next.
974
points. That's going to happen. He's 36. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he'll still be playing a little bit.
So that's exciting for the Twins. They're just certainly great careers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And and then Shane Doan, 964.
He's
now,
the next one.
Will he continue on, though, after this year? If he does?
If I was him, I would.
I mean, it'd be nice to get that. But, obviously, when you get to that point, if you feel maybe I don't have the most to offer over an 82-game season at age and spending more time with family.
I'd get 1,000, then retire.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess you could. Well, I don't know. You probably could.
Yeah, I mean, look at this year. I mean, we said 964 he's at.
Yeah.
So if he could get, I mean, at least to 970. I mean, he should obviously 6 more points because you still have over 20 games, a little over 20 games.
I think he would.
Yeah, even though it's been a down year offensively, and then really all you're looking at is a 30-point season then next year, and so yeah, that would be great to see. I mean, to do
That'd
that
nice.
In a Coyote uniform.
What's his birthday, by the way, Shane?
Same as yours,
yeah,
just much
October
younger.
10th.
Is Shane Doan.
Not that much younger.
Hey, he's quite a bit younger.
Okay, he's quite a bit
he
younger.
really is.
But he's he's been a remarkable captain. You got to love his loyalty. I mean, that's what. I sort of like the loyalty. But Shane, if you're listening, don't think it's disloyal to go to another club for a Stanley Cup run. We're behind you on that. So maybe Pittsburgh we're going to suggest. Maybe the Rangers. But
I'm suggesting Washington.
Washington would be okay too.
Yeah, because Shane, you have Mr. Game 7 over there, and you know how Justin Williams come playoff time. Now last year obviously it didn't work for the Caps. They ran into the Penguins, and
they were hot. The Penguins.
Yeah, but either of those two clubs, and if you do want to stay a little closer, however, when it's such a short rest of the season, by the time the deadline's here and even the playoffs are longer, but you're not really going to fly around going, oh, I better get back home or fly the family out. Now, granted, yes, being in, let's say if he was traded and went to San Jose, obviously closer than going to Pittsburgh or Washington or something like that.
Yeah.
However, at that time, there really won't be a lot of that travel anyways, or if the kids are out of school, if you go on that deep playoff run and they get out in late May here and, you're still playing into June. I mean, still, if you're in the Stanley Cup final, I mean, you're going to be all over. So they would be traveling with you anyways, possibly. So I think, and I know he sort of had mentioned this, he is willing to, if he does find the right situation, is willing to go to a contender. He is willing to go out east. So Dave has Pittsburgh, I have Washington, and Mike has Washington.
But you have Washington too? Oh yeah, he has Pittsburgh. But now the third guy, I believe that could possibly get it, Henrik Zetterberg.
Okay, yeah. What's Zetterberg at right now?
He's at 895. So, he's 36. Well, I mean, it's possible. I mean, he's got to play a few more years. But his career average is .90 per game.
Right, and that will go down, but I think
he
should
needs about
still
3, well, let's see.
A couple more seasons if he could
more. That'd be nice. He's always been a great. Who do you think the fourth one is? 844 points. From Dallas, Jason Spezza.
Jason Spezza, yeah. So
Spezza. I said it wrong.
And he'll obviously get that as long as he doesn't have knock on wood for him any serious injury concerns. He'll be and he's when healthy, obviously still a good point producer per se. So he should get there.
I think the
don't
next
see a
one
problem
you're
with
going to
that.
know. 825 points. Made rediscovered his offensive game when he went to Minnesota. Who is it?
When he went to Minnesota,
he's done very
really
well.
So Stahl. Yeah, so
Eric Stahl.
Yeah, he has had a very good
already.
year. Yeah. And he's still early 30s, right?
He's 32.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility of renewed action for him at
It
Minnesota.
is, yeah. And that was and it was a 3-year deal, I believe, with them. So his first year there, playing well, and I expect he should get there. And as we see with all these young guys nowadays as well, obviously a lot of them are far away just because they've only been in the league a couple of years. But we're going to see so many guys, 8 to 10 years get there with all the talent that's out there now, and these guys staying consistent. I mean, it's not easy because you could battle injuries or. Sometimes with forwards, you see they really peak, and then even in the late 20s where you'd expect real prime time, sometimes they start to fall a little bit. But there's going to be a lot of guys that we're seeing today get there at some point.
Now, barring injury, here's a guy who's going to be a shoo-in. Who is he?
Well, quite a few. McDavid.
Well, no, the guy that has 818 points right now. He's turning 31 in July 31st.
Yeah.
Malkin.
Oh, well, yeah, Malkin should. Yeah.
Look
easily.
I mean, look at what he's doing. He's been injured a little bit, but averaging 1.18 points
Amazing,
per game.
Yeah, when he's healthy.
2018-19 season, I predict he will get 1,000.
He'll get there.
And there's others. I mean, we didn't talk about Gaborik. That might be tough. Ryan Getzlaff, Rick Nash, Kopitar. They put in he has 117.
He'll get there. Gaborik
and of course Patrick Kane. I mean, there's no doubt.
And again, he'll get there as well, barring injury, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we know that will happen. So, a lot of fun hockey notes and news.
And the trade deadline is upon us here, about 10 days away, March 1st.
Oh, I always love that. That's going to be good. And we are live from Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road, Phoenix, Arizona. Come on down. We're here till 4. This is such a great place. Great food here. Come on down, watch us broadcast, enjoy all the food. We're going to order burnt tips right now. We'll be right back after this message.
NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Real Hockey Talk live on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS, and we are broadcasting live from Frasher's Smokehouse.
And I feel bad. We keep cutting Mike off. We're talking off the air, and then all of a sudden we come back on.
Yeah, what happened there? But we are at Frasher's Smokehouse. Come on down, 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. You won't regret it. The food here is really top-notch. I do believe it's the best barbecue in town. Yes, I'm saying it. I'm proclaiming it right now. Just the food is magnificent no matter what you get here. I happen to order just the burnt tips, or burnt ends, I'm sorry, and I thought very tasty. But the turkey, the tri-tip, the ribs, all of it is delicious. Come on down, and it's a really nice place. And joining us, well, we got two people joining us. We got Mike Smallwell. Oh, you got to put your mic down. There you go. Hello. And hello. There's Mike Smallwood.
Oh, I didn't know I was allowed to talk.
Oh, is he allowed to talk?
Yeah.
I never cleared that. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
But our guy from Boston who lives in Phoenix, who happens to be in Boston right now,
So
Rick,
from Boston, Phoenix, and back in Boston.
Hockey Guru, how are you, Rick?
I am fantastic. I'm actually in the White Mountains of New Hampshire here, and as
New Hampshire.
Snowbanks abound. Back here for a little family time and some fried clams and some lobster. A short trip, but back home and had to find my winter jacket to come back. But all is good. All is good here.
At least you have a
winter
winter
jacket.
You're welcome. It was fun last week, too, with Barry Gibbs. He's such a nice gentleman and a great hockey guy. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun thanks to you, our hockey guru, Rick, from Boston. Okay, so New Hampshire. I was in New Hampshire once, actually.
Very nice
I can't remember where. Yeah, there was some resort. Where is there a Bethlehem, New Hampshire?
There is a Bethlehem.
Oh, Twin Mountains, Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah,
Twin
Mountains. That's on the up in the White Mountains. There's a ski area. There's Bretton Woods Ski Resort. There's quite a bit up there.
I was there.
Yeah, beautiful. And
after
a lot of people up here now because it's the rotation of school vacations. So families come up and take the week off and jam the hotels and go skiing.
You're probably wondering, what was I doing up there? Well, the day after I graduated high school, I was still 17, three of my friends, we hopped in a car, we drove to New Hampshire. We had someone that had an uncle and aunt that lived there, and they got us jobs at the resort, one day of doing that of the job, I said, "Let's go."
That's unbelievable. They had cars when you graduated high school,
and we almost fell asleep at the wheel many times. A bunch of 17-year-olds, but it's very beautiful there. I will say, New Hampshire,
it is
very, very pretty.
See, what we did as 17-year-olds back here, growing up here, we'd drive a little bit further and cross the border into Quebec and go into Montreal. And when the drinking age was 18, when it wasn't down here, we could go up there.
Part.
Yeah, we could have a wild weekend up there and cross the border and behave again. But that was always a law for Bostonians and New Englanders to go up to Quebec.
I had no idea. That's all I could say. But we were there a couple of weeks and turned around and went back. Two of us did. We left two of them there. No, they wanted to stay. But the guy with Ann and Uncle, of course, stayed the summer. But anyway, so a lot going on with hockey. What do you want? Where do you want to start, Rick?
Oh, you know what? First of all, I want to give hats off to the Coyotes. I know, I tend to be critical of them. I think it was a couple of weeks ago I talked about I'd like to see the last 30 games them establish an identity, and I think they're moving in that direction. Obviously, they're playing very well. They're one of the hottest teams in the league. They're not going to make the playoffs, obviously, but the way they're playing right now, I like it a lot. And I've got, Domi came back, helped. Christian Dvorak is really developing as a player. I hope it keeps up. I think you're going to see a sell-off. I think you're going to see some, you're going to see some pieces move off. And I'm sure they're going to do that just because of the unknown of the arena and the financial situation. So a Hansel or some of these other higher salaries more than likely will be moved on. But hats off to them. They're playing great right now. And especially I want to say hats off to Shane Doan. The reason why I say it is for the last 10 years he's been in this organization, and there has been this cloud of uncertainty hanging over his head every day about what the future stability is going to be of the franchise and how it's going to affect him and his family. And I really got to give him hats off because he endured through a lot of negativity and didn't let any negative attitude affect any of the younger players on the team. That is hard to do.
Right.
Now, granted, he's rewarded handsomely as being a professional athlete, but still, you have to be motivated. And I'm going to give him a pat on the back on that because, as the last season unwinds, uncertainty is still there, and he's been a real trooper, and I'm glad he's been rewarded for that. So I wanted to get that 2 cents in. But it's interesting, as you said, Claude Julien. A few weeks ago, we were talking. They asked me about the Bruins and what was going on. Well, Claude Julien, they pulled the trigger on him. They let him go. They brought up Bruce Cassidy, who was an associate coach on the bench with him this year. He was also the coach of the Providence Bruins the last year. So pretty much a similar system that Providence was using. They let Claude Julien go. 7 days later, this is the first time in hockey that a first-place team, the Montreal Canadiens, fire their coach, Michel Therrien. Now, he was on the bubble for the last couple of years anyways. They hire Claude Julien, who was there before the last 10 years when he was with the Bruins. He was on Montreal and was fired there. He goes back to Montreal. He's out of work 7 days, and he gets a raise of $2 million a year and becomes the third highest coach in National Hockey League behind Mike Babcock and Joel Kenville in the span of 7 days.
That's incredible.
I don't think the Bruins envisioned that. I think they didn't think that would happen. Beware of the Montreal Canadiens moving forward here because Julien's system is extremely defensive. Supposedly, Therrien lost Carey Price somewhere there. The message wasn't getting through. You could see a pretty impressive run for Montreal right now. And if Carey Price gets hot, I don't want to play him in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just amazing how everything like that went down. And, we've seen quite a bit of coaching changes here somewhat recently, of course, and we talked last week also about, Ken Hitchcock being out and then Mike Yeo taking over. And I know the Blues
and all
lost
the teams have
this
had a bump.
afternoon.
They've all had a bump. It's like a goalie change. You're down 3-1, you take the goalie out, and the team comes roaring back. All these teams that have had coaching changes right now they've seen a trend positively. I mean, since Cassidy took over for the Bruins, they're undefeated in 3 games. They bumped into that 5-day bye week that's in place this year. Most of the teams on that first game after the bye week come out flat. They're playing San Jose tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but the Bruins have played well under Cassidy, and he changed the system a little bit. He's got the defensemen stepping up a little bit into the play. You see they're scoring. They're pinching at the blue line. They're taking some risks. When you take a risk offensively, you give something up defensively. That's bound to happen. But I think he's empowered some of these young kids to relax, and I'm talking specifically about Ryan Spooner, a first-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. This guy should be a 25 to 30 goal scorer a year, and he wasn't under Julian because I think he was pressured so much to be defensive in his own end. Cassidy's first game, he's got Ryan Spooner on the first-line power play unit. He brings up this Peter Sorelic, who's a kid from Slovakia, from Providence, puts him on the first line of the power play. Speed, and I think they had like 4 points among them the first game. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. But, I don't know if there's going to be any more changes this year. You never know. No one's going to feel bad for Claude Julien. It's like a business. If you're working on a sales team, you miss your quota. You've been there. You've been doing the same thing for 8 or 9 years, and you're listening to your manager, and you just something's just missing, and you need a change. It's the same people, but the message is just not correlating. And I think that's what happened to the Claude Julien. There was a little slow decline in play after 2011. Roster changes have a lot to do with it, but if you look at good, fantastic coaches, there are great coaches, which I'd put Julien as a great coach, as a great hockey mind. And then there's fantastic coaches in sports like a Belichick or someone like that. To do what these guys have done over 17 years, and there's continually a change in personnel, different people. Tom Brady, that's different. He's the one person. But you have all these different personalities and athletic strengths that come in, and to be able to push those buttons, have your message, and have it resonate all this time speaks volumes. And I think in hockey, what happened with the Bruins, I'm a little down on the veterans because those guys were the constants, the Charas, the Marchands, the Bergerons, the David Krejcis. They've heard that message from before 2011. And I think maybe they got their eye off the ball a little bit. They took some things for granted. And the younger guys, they see that. They lead by example. And I think it's just like a little snowball effect. And all it takes is the little things done wrong, and you lose games. So that's what happens after 10 years. But hats off to Claude, and it'll be the last 25 games of the season, so it's going to be a fun run.
So what do you think, Boston? They're in playoff place right now.
Are they going to make the playoffs? Still, there is still uncertainty. If they in their next 10 games, if they go 7-3, 8-2, I'm going to say they're going to be in. The Maple Leafs, who I was high on a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about the youth movement, have suddenly gone sideways. They're like 3-5-1 in their last 9 games, and in that 5-game gap that they had played less games of the Bruins, they have not taken advantage of that. So Toronto had a chance. They missed out on that. Ottawa is ahead of the Bruins. I think they have a couple of games in hand. It's going to be a race to the finish. The hot teams right now continue to be the Capitals, continue to be the Minnesota Wild. Watch out for the New York Rangers. They've won
They're
8 out of their
7-3
last 10.
last 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks, 7 out of their last 10. And then you look at the teams that have gone sideways. Canadians were 3-6-1 when they fired Terrien. They bring Claude Julien in. The Leafs, I mean, they've gone the other way. The Blue Jackets, they've been a sub-500 team now for the last 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. One of the hottest teams in the league is the Coyotes. They won 7 out of their last 11 or something like that. That's fantastic. But
6-3-1 out of the last 10.
Yeah,
that's decent. Yeah,
mm-hmm. That's very good. That is, and they've
Yeah.
beaten good teams too. They've beaten good teams. They
Pittsburgh,
lost to Edmonton,
Kings.
right? They beat Pittsburgh. They let Pittsburgh creep back into the game. I was there at that one. They almost let that one get away, but they are skating well, and hopefully, like I said, this is their identity moving forward.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One other team I wanted to bring into that, the Islanders also have played better, especially, under Doug White, their coaching change. But Florida is playing really well. And,
right.
Huberdeau's back now, so injury concerns have ended a bit with that. And so there's someone maybe I would watch, because I know they have a couple games in hand, on the Bruins still, and just 2 points back, and then, just a point back of Toronto. And so I think at the end of the day, Florida will somehow at least get that second wild card spot. I don't see Toronto making it quite yet. I mean, as you said, it's like, we're high on them. They're going to be a great team sooner rather than later with all their young guys. But, you look at the situation on some of these other teams, maybe a little more established. As we get to that stretch run here, we might see that going on. Now, what do you think about Kevin Shattenkirk? Any possibility that the Bruins may pick him up, or do you feel maybe he stays in St. Louis now?
I don't think he. Joe Sakic, the GM of the Avalanche, has been in Boston, going to last week when they had the Beanpot, which is the college tournament that has BU, BC, Northeastern, and Harvard playing. And specifically, he was there because the BU team has about 3 or 4 Bruins prospects on it that were all high draft picks, and one of them is Charlie McAvoy, the defenseman. Colorado needs defensemen, but what he's asking for is so high. To get a Duchesne or a Landeskog, he's looking for a Brandon Carlisle, a McAvoy, or a number 1 pick. The Bruins system is stacked with young defensemen coming up. They have done the right thing there. They've got McAvoy, they've got this Rob O'Gara. I don't see them doing a move for Shattenkirk because he's going to be a UFA. He's going to impact the team financially. I think Shattenkirk. I'm still looking at him either going to the Bishop move or going to someone like the Rangers. Remember, the Rangers last year made they did the Keith Yandel move to pick up an offensive guy. I could see something like that happening. And then Colorado's, that will probably be the big move if they do something with Gabriel Landeskog and Duchesne to pick up some scoring. But Shattenkirk will be interesting to watch. You might see a Ginla move somewhere to give someone some scoring. Jaromir Jagr, you mentioned Florida. His name's been bantered around now to see what happens. If Florida's not going to make that push, he may be a sell-off to someone to give him some scoring punch down the road. So it'll be fun. 10 days to go. It'll be all eyes tuned and all ears to see what happens.
Absolutely. Love trade deadline time. And, I definitely, with the Ginla there, even though I think he only has, like 3 even strength goals all season, he could still, going in the right situation to a contender, which I think there's no doubt he'll move, is, maybe some motivation and at least could also help on the power play still. So
exactly.
Interesting to see that. And with Shattenkirk with the Rangers, I think whether he goes, if St. Louis trades him at the deadline and it's not to the Rangers, and he'll just be a rental somewhere, I think he'll sign with the Rangers though in the off season. I think that's a marriage that's going to happen It might end in a bitter divorce, though, when you look at the amount of money and term he'll get. But I see that happening. I think that's where he wants to go, and of course, he would fill a nice void there for the Rangers. And
he would.
It'll be interesting. It'll be a lot of fun. Everything's been quiet in terms of just very minor trade activity we've seen the last couple weeks, but yeah, I'm sure we'll see here in the next 10 days some good stuff. Hopefully,
Brian
go
Boyle,
down.
He's on the.
He's
been known to
I'm a
probably
Brian
be on
Boyle
the move.
guy.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. You kind of put Brian Boyle and Martin Hansel, both similar type players, in not only size but how they play the game. Brian Boyle has never been a top six forward. He originally played defense. He can play. He played back on D and play up front, but he is a solid bottom six forward that can kill penalties, has grit and size. Hansel has been playing top 6 minutes. You could see. I think Hansel moves. I think they move his contract and they move him to a team and keep bringing the kids up from Tucson. That's what you do.
Oh yeah. Now Hansel's a UFA after the year, so you got to get something for him, and
right.
He'll be in high demand. A guy like that, so equivalent to at least a first-round pick, they could probably get, and possibly a prospect. And yeah, and then Dallas, I'm curious, if they start a sell-off, maybe we see, even though he hasn't had a strong season, but maybe Patrick Sharp, Patrick Eves, who's been very well for them both, at the end of their contracts, maybe they move on. And there's still some decent names. Obviously, the star-type level guys still under contract, like you said, with Duchesne and Landeskog. Will we see them move? Because obviously Sakic does not have to do it now, but those types of moves we see more in the off season or at the draft.
Right.
But maybe something will change here, and it'll be exciting. Regardless, even if there's not big guys in play, but there's some good names. It's still just always fun to watch the trade deadline specials on deadline day, even if nothing really happens for the first couple hours, and it's there's still something about it.
I'm always on the lookout.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this more when the deadline's over. We call it a wow. I didn't see that coming. Where did that one come from? Back to the days when the Bruins traded Phil Esposito for Brad Park and all that.
Yeah.
You're never going to see anything blockbuster like that to completely change the personality of someone's hockey team. Who knows?
You're right.
You never know what's going on behind the scenes. So
Connor McDavid for the LA Kings, the whole team.
Who's the I think keeps the best lid on player moves is the GM of Tampa, Steve Yzerman. Remember last year when they were talking about contracts and who's going where, and he kept everything quiet, and guys re-signed, and people didn't know how he was able to manage it under the cap, but he did everything quiet, and and everybody's predictions all came false. But there could be something out there gigantic, and if Bishop's a piece of that, as I said, you want to get something for him because you've got a good chance to lose him. So you're better off getting assets, and maybe they make a blockbuster. Who knows?
Some other names thrown around: Burroughs, Berglund from St. Louis. So there's a couple others. But Rick, what do you think? Shane Doan, is he going to stay a Coyote or is he off to Tintin?
He's going to have to approve anything he does. I think it would have to be presented. I'd present it for him. If he wanted to finish up a year and give a chance with a cup run. The Bruins did that with Ray Bourque when they let him go to the Avalanche. Yeah. I think they owe that to Shane Doan, but he is so tight here in the community and with his family. I can't answer for him, and whatever his answer is going to be the right one. It'll see how it is presented and asked, and he may look at it that if the Coyotes get some assets because of him, coming back this way, maybe he'll look at it that way and say, hey, okay, I can live in a hotel room or apartment for the next 3 months, and come back to Phoenix and make a run at it. But I don't know. He's very loyal to the franchise. He's the face of the franchise. He always will be. But he can definitely help situationally many teams. Big body in front of the net, great in the locker room, good in the corners. Put him on a third line. He could make something happen. I still think the Blackhawks are the perfect fit. That's just my opinion.
So Rick goes Chicago. I go Washington.
I'm saying
Dave
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I think, Mike, you changed to Pittsburgh, correct?
I did not.
No, Washington.
Pittsburgh.
Well,
Pittsburgh has a lot of
Washington.
injuries up front. Pittsburgh had injuries, but where I've picked the Blackhawks is when you look at Washington and Pittsburgh, they're two of the fastest teams in the league speed-wise. Pittsburgh has reinvented themselves with a lot of young college kids playing with Crosby. These guys are water bugs. Stone's not a water bug. Okay, he'd have to. I just don't see him fitting there. In Washington, they're top 12 forwards right now. I don't see a room in there for them unless someone gets hurt.
That's true.
All bets are off. All bets are off
Yeah.
if someone gets an unexpected injury.
But Chicago, you're right. They could use
Yes.
Shane Doan. That's certainly possible. I mean,
Or maybe
We'll see.
Anaheim, because former Coyote Antoine Vermette had a lapse in judgment the other day and slashed the linesman after a face-off, and he's bye-bye for 10 games. And Anaheim, there you go. Does he fit at Anaheim? Maybe.
that possible. I mean, yeah, big body and strength. But wow, can you believe it? We're at the end of the segment, and Rick, thank you so much for calling in. You'll be back next week.
I will.
Back,
I will.
in
I'm back in Phoenix on Monday, and
cool.
Look forward to next week. And thanks for having me, and have a great rest of the show.
Hey, have a nice time out there in New Hampshire.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rick. And we are at Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down. We're here until 4. Great food. We're having burnt ends, I should say. We'll be right back after.
HD Radio is here for NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. Check out your favorite shows and games on 100.7 KSLX HD2.
And welcome back again. We are broadcasting live from Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix, Arizona. This is Real Hockey Talk. I'm Dave Isaac, alongside Greg and our friend from the Arizona Rattlers, the fan club leader, Mike Smallwood, dropping in to say hello.
Hello.
Hey, there he is. Anyway,
Go Blues.
Yeah, the Rattlers lost last night, 40-29, but we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, and speaking about the Blues, before our next guest comes on, or I'm not sure if he's...
he's scheduled Greg Wyshynski. Puck
Yahoo.
Daddy. Yahoo.
Yes.
Hope I pronounced his name right.
Did
I say Greg right? Oh, no.
As long as you have Greg right. Greg W. No, they... but the Blues, though, Mike, being a Blues fan from St. Louis, they did lose today against Buffalo, but they've been playing much better since the coaching change.
Yeah.
And I do think they're for real. I mean, what they lack, when David Backes left as a free agent, that leadership and that type of player, losing that is obviously tough. However, I think they're still...
From our Blues fan club here in Arizona, we're very upset about Backes trade.
Leaving to the Bruins there in free agency, it's tough to lose anyone but your captain. So that, is an adjustment. But the goaltending, Jake Allen was struggling there for a while. And so the key is, if they get the goaltending, or maybe they can make a move for it, they're still a really good team. And a coaching change now, getting that new system and voice, because we knew Mike Yeo would be the coach next year, because this was just going to be Hitchcock's last year. But it just wasn't working. And sometimes you kind of lose the room a little. And but No, I definitely do. I mean, they'll, in my opinion, make the playoffs. They get 67 points now. Not a shoo-in yet per se, but I think they'll remain very consistent, to finish the year. So they'll be
I believe
the top 3.
7-2. They're 7-2 since the coaching changed.
Yes, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, this is just their second loss with that, and so having 67 points on the year now, where they're third in the Central, which obviously the top 3 in each division make it. And you have your 2 wild cards. But I think they're enough distance now, and what we'll continue seeing from them, they'll bounce back from this loss. Everyone loses here and there, and I believe they'll finish strong, and we'll see them in there. But how far they go in the playoffs, again, the goaltending issue. If they could get someone, if they got Ben Bishop per se, who used to be with the organization years ago, if they get him from Tampa, if Tampa goes, hey, we're out of it, we want to get something for him because he'll be a free agent. If the Blues jumped in on him, I mean, obviously that would be huge. But, so they have 67 points. Nashville has 3 games in hand on them with 62 points. So, yes, Nashville could catch them per se, and I like Nashville a lot as well. But even if the Blues don't get third in the division, I still at least see them in a wild card spot. But I think there's still really good things ahead for them. They'll be much better on the road than they were under Hitchcock, and you just need that new voice in there, and Yo's doing that.
We're looking forward to March 18th when the Blues and the Coyotes play together.
Yeah. Oh, that
March 18th when the Blues come here to St. Louis, there's a bunch of us that are getting together.
Oh, okay,
right?
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Having when they come in and getting everyone together like that, it makes it more fun to watch. And then when the good things happen,
the Coyotes are the organization's very nice as far as because they're letting us group together.
Mm-hmm.
They're very cooperative and all.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. There's been 3 different representatives that I've been dealing with. We actually did a group. Some group things about 3 times in the past.
Okay.
And they'll put their name, put our whatever our group name is on the billboard and everything else at the
nice.
and all that.
Oh.
Coyotes as an organization are very, very, very nice guys.
That's awesome. So when is that? March 18th?
Mm-hmm.
That's when the Blues come to town. Mm-hmm. And there's another one. They come again two weeks later. That's on a weeknight though. But I'm not going to go to that game because I'm too busy working. Unfortunately.
Well, March 18th, you'll still be kind of recuperating after St. Patty's Day, and so even adds more excitement to it.
In fact, a few of us are going to get together here at Frasher's, before we go into the game and all.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So now I can ask you your favorite. What's your favorite here at Frasher's Smokehouse? Your favorite meal or meat?
The favorite? I guess the ribs. I like the ribs.
Ribs are good. Baby backs.
And no, St. Louis style actually.
You like the St. Louis? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Excellent. It is good, but boy, I love these burnt ends though.
I haven't had anything bad up here yet.
Oh, it's good. This is
both the burnt ends and then the brisket here, amazing, and the cream corn.
And the service is really outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Absolutely.
Our waitresses are really nice.
That's why I like to have a lot of watch parties here. That's as far as the Arizona Rattlers.
That's
right.
The
reason why we picked this place. Because,
so every road game, you're going to have a watch party here at Frasher's Smokehouse.
We had one last.
Perfect.
We had our first.
Yeah.
We had the first one last night, and so for the rest of the season, we're going to be right here.
And most of them are Fridays. There are a Sunday or two, and maybe a Saturday.
Most of them are Fridays, yes.
But Fridays, which is nice. And I thought it came out well. The YouTube Live worked out well. I was able to get it. And I thought the announcers, they were pro Storm, but they were good. I like the announcers, actually. They're very good. And made it exciting. So, so just... Well, let's give you a plug. How did people?
The other thing, we started. It's all started as far as Frasher's is concerned. Is we were doing our St. Louis watch parties because George Frasher's from St. Louis.
That's right.
And so a lot of us were doing our watch parties from here at Frasher's during the playoffs and all.
Cool.
So that's the reason why I got to know the staff and everything here.
Now, how do you have a website people can know when you're going to have a party here?
As far as our Rattlers, Arizona Rattlers, it's PhoenicianRattlers.com.
Okay, cool. But it's going to be every
road game. Yeah, every road game's going to be.
And it's different times, so you just got to watch the time.
Right.
Whenever.
And in fact, we'll put that on. We actually announce whenever whatever the time and the date for each road game. So.
Wow, that is really cool.
Is it a similar schedule with the AFL in the sense, was there like 18 games or something like that,
16.
or is there more or less?
It's been varying each year and all. This year, was it last year that they had 18, or was it the year before? No, last year was 16. This year, well, anyway, this year is 16 teams, and like you said, they're in a whole different league now, the IFL.
I think people should get out there and see the Arizona Rattlers because it's a different style. In the AFL, it's more of the pass game, restricted defense type packages. The IFL blitzes, is heavy on the run, or could be heavy on the run game. So you see a little more athleticism, I think, in most positions.
Oh, yeah.
I like that, I believe, better. We miss Nick Davila, of course.
Yeah.
Great quarterback, but I could see you got to have some wheels, I think, as a quarterback, ability to scramble.
In this league, yes.
Yeah,
league, yes.
I don't know if that was Nick's game, but he certainly could pass better than anyone around. So it's exciting.
Isn't Nick on the coaching staff now?
Yeah, he's the quarterback coach. Yeah,
that's great.
Coach, yes.
I think, and their coach, their the starting quarterback, I'm trying to, is it?
There's five players that are carried over from last year's
team. But who's the quarterback now? What was his name? I blanked out. But he was
tossing around three different. He's from Oregon.
We've been tossing around three
big time
school. Yeah, and he's used to this type of style. And I think, and the next home game is not tomorrow, but a week.
A week from today.
Yeah. Tomorrow Sunday.
3 o'clock. Yes.
The 26th.
I forget.
Yeah, so they used to be in the AFL. I think there's 3 teams that used to be there, and I think it's exciting. I think get out there and enjoy the new type of football. Rattlers always great organization, and I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to be in there fighting the Storm for the championship this year. That's my prediction. So, I just what I'm thinking, but it's fun. New faces, new people, but you're right. There's 5. Returning from our Keith Brown is one.
Chapman.
Alan Chapman. I interviewed him at Media Day. Nice kid. He remembered me from last year. He's very good. He made some good plays. And Amos. He's back. He had a great game. I thought he played very well last night. So some good times there. Check out azrattlers.com. Okay. So we're still in the Real Hockey Talk section.
Can I mention one more thing about the Blues?
Absolutely.
If it's possible.
Yeah.
My friends are texting me saying that they want me to announce our next Blues watch party next Sunday at Phillies in Scottsdale. So if you're a St. Louis Blues fan here in the Phoenix area, come out to Phillies Sports Bar in Scottsdale.
So you're the leader of the Blues?
No.
Oh.
I'm just a friend.
Okay.
I'm a friend of the leaders.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, that's cool. Phoenix is interesting. They have so many college, parties, loyal Notre Dame fans and pro, you do the Raiders.
St. Louis Cardinals, the St. Louis baseball Cardinals.
Sort of interesting, right? The Phoenix has that. I don't know if other cities have as a diverse a group where they're actually having sort of large fan base.
Everybody here is from someplace else, so you're going to have You're going to have a lot of you're going to have a lot of situations like that,
which is sort of cool, right? I think it's pretty cool.
I mean, to find the like-minded fans of your teams.
Yeah.
Greg's going to do a L.A. King fan club.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to do a Las Vegas. What are they called now, the hockey team?
I have no idea.
The Golden Knights.
Yeah, the Golden Knights.
Yeah.
Like the Golden Nuggets. Oh, hey.
Yeah, you made great time.
Perfect. Let's, okay, do we have another mic? Let's,
yeah. Here, let me get set up here.
Okay. We got the great owner of this fine establishment. We've been bragging about this place ever since I've been here, actually, and that was about 3 days ago. All right, cool. And here we go. We have the owner of Frasher's Smokehouse, 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. He's got a standing ovation already. This is incredible. I'll do the play-by-play. He's looking at the earphones. He's putting them on. He's there. George, how are you?
Hey. All right.
Welcome. Welcome
nice.
to your own place. I got to tell you, and this is, I was here, 2-3 days ago.
Yes, sir.
And I had some lunch here. I mean, I fell in love with all the food, and I don't know which ones ever to pick, but I picked the burnt ends.
Great choice on those burnt ends.
Those are good, but the turkey and the baked beans are phenomenal. I haven't had baked beans like this since I told you about some place in L.A. that I believe went out of business, Love's Barbecue. It tastes better than that, and I didn't think that's possible.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations. So tell us about Frasher's. You have a pretty long history in the restaurant business. You had a place in Scottsdale. You want to go over a little bit of background?
Sure. So I grew up in St. Louis and went to school at University of Missouri, Columbia, the Missouri Tigers.
Oh, yeah.
I got a 4-year hospitality degree from there. In high school and college, I was working at the Arch, St. Louis Arch on the riverfront, and then I also worked on the riverboats.
Oh, wow.
They used to do dinner dance cruises there.
Oh, wow. How
so
fun.
When I graduated college, I went to work for KC Masterpiece, the barbecue sauce. They had a few restaurants in the Midwest. Opened up KC Masterpiece on the Plaza. And actually, a mutual friend of ours, Rich Dillon, who has some restaurants here, he hired me right out of college to work for KC Masterpiece, and then he's the gentleman responsible for bringing me out here to Arizona. I'd moved back to St. Louis and was running a fine dining steakhouse there called Sam's Steakhouse down by Grant's Farm. And then Rich contacted me, and I came out here and worked for El Paso Barbecue for a few years.
Wow.
Rich and I worked together again there. Then we both left, and we both opened up our own restaurant 2 weeks apart from each other.
Both very successful, too. Different types of restaurants at
that
time.
So Rich is doing Kansas City barbecue over in the West Valley. He has 4 restaurants.
Yeah.
And I had Frasher's Steakhouse, which was over on Scottsdale Road down in South Scottsdale between Thomas and McDowell.
Yeah.
So we were there 16 years. We were doing barbecue there. We were doing some St. Louis favorites. And then we were also doing steaks.
Oh, wow. And then things happen, and now you're here?
Yeah, so we're opening this. I've been wanting to open up a barbecue joint for about 5 or 6 years. And we were opening this up as a sister restaurant. We ended up losing our lease over at the other place. Closed that down. We're now just having fun doing the barbecue here. Open 7 days a week from 11 till 8. We do everything fresh every day. We don't carry anything over to the next day. So those burnt ends you were talking about, we smoke the brisket for 14 hours.
Whoa.
Then we'll cut the top part of the brisket off. We'll stick that back in the smoker and smoke that for an additional 4 hours.
Amazing.
And then we cut that up into burnt ends. So that's a Kansas City-style burnt end. So in Texas, they actually cut the ends off of the brisket. This, in Kansas City, they cut the top part of it off.
Very, very cool and very delicious, I got to tell you. So I'm glad you opened this place because this is, it's such a, you have a good feeling when you walk in. It's not like you have to wear a suit or tie or anything, but it's casual and comfortable. And your service, everyone I've met, you got high top-end people-friendly service.
The ladies that are working today and my whole staff, for that matter, outstanding.
And that's so important, isn't it?
It really is.
You could have great food like you do, but without the service, people might not like it. But
my kitchen staff, I brought them all over from the old restaurant.
Oh, you did?
I got my head cook, Ramon. He's been with me. Be 17 years in May.
Oh, wow.
So, he does a tremendous job for me. Mario's my head smoker here. And then just all the front of the house staff, they've all been just wonderful. I've been very lucky.
It's
very blessed.
It's a great place. I just can't get over how delicious this is. I just
thank you.
Yeah, I have no words, and I'm on the radio, and I should be. If
I may say something, a lot of my friends, we had a as far as our Rattlers group, Arizona Rattlers, we had a holiday party.
Oh.
And here, I asked George, and he was able to accommodate us because somebody else wasn't. And then when we did have our party here, everybody loved the service and the food so much they were saying, Mike, we would love to have our watch party.
Gotcha.
So that's how that situation goes.
Good choice. Well, that's all I could say.
Yeah. So just to tell you the difference between the two, so the Frasher Steakhouse over there in Scottsdale, that was a St. Louis-style restaurant. So we had an appetizer and a pizza that we actually imported from St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
There's an Italian settling in St. Louis called The Hill. Oh. My mom used to go down to The Hill, pick up the cheese and the crust from this pizza place called Emo's. It's called Provel cheese is the type of cheese that it is. It's a triple blend of processed cheese, white cheddar, Monterey Jack, and Swiss that are all combined together, makes a nice creamy cheese.
Oh, wow.
And then it's a real thin crust pizza, almost a cracker crust. And then the toasted raviolis were invented in St. Louis also, and we serve those with marinara sauce.
Oh, man.
So we actually are keeping that alive here at the new restaurant. We're just doing it on First Fridays here.
Okay, got it.
But we started it when the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, came in and played at Diamondbacks last year. And then we went right into hockey season, the playoffs, and the Blues were playing. So I continued to keep them there. And then now we've kept them. So for the First Fridays, we're doing St. Louis-style pizzas.
That is awesome. And I understand you have a special every day, right?
We do a daily feature here.
Yeah, what would that be?
So on Mondays, we do pastrami. We make our own pastrami in-house. It takes 14 days to make that. So we brine it for 10 days. Then we cure it for 3 days, and then we smoke it for half a day.
Oh, wow.
And then you can do that either as a pastrami on rye with mustard, or you can do it as a Reuben sandwich.
Okay.
And we do that on marbled rye.
Wow.
Our pumpernickel bread.
That sounds delicious, too.
Tuesdays, we do smoked ham, and that's a ham and Gruyere cheese sandwich, so it's like a ham and Swiss sandwich. Wednesdays, we do our beef ribs. We marinate those for 4 days in kind of like a Hawaiian marinade. Then we'll put a barbecue rub on them, and we smoke them for about 5 hours. Thursdays are hot links. We presently are not making our own hot links. I'm buying them over at Shriners over on 7th Street.
Yeah.
They've been making sausage for 60 years.
I think we had them on one of our shows.
Oh, you did?
There's
it's a lady, yeah.
Yeah, she came in.
Mrs. Schiller, yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and it was good. She brought
her dad
some samples.
Started it.
That's right. I
right
remember her. Yeah,
7th Street between Osborne and Indian School.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah.
So Fridays we do our Fish Fridays, and they've been catfish. Most recently with hush puppies and coleslaw.
Nice.
Saturdays we do a St. Louis specialty item, which is called a pork steak. That actually comes from the pork shoulder. We are doing about an inch cut thick steak. We're smoking that for 4 hours with our barbecue rub. Then we'll take it off. When you order it, we'll put it on our grill, and we actually base that with our Tennessee Tang barbecue sauce.
Wow.
So we don't put barbecue sauce on any of our on our items. We let you choose what sauce you would like. And we presently have 3 in-house made sauces, a Kansas City-style sweet. We have a Tennessee Tangy, and then the Texas-style spicy. We also do a Western Carolina barbecue sauce, which is a tomato and vinegar-based.
Gotcha.
We do a North Carolina vinegar-based sauce, a South Carolina mustard-based sauce, and an Alabama white barbecue sauce that goes with chicken.
Wow. What a selection, huh?
So we presently just use the 3 right now, and then we do the other ones as kind of seasonal sauces.
That is phenomenal. We probably only have about a minute or 2 left, but do you have a daily special Sunday? Or
then on Sundays we do our competition-style St. Louis spare ribs. So we'll get the big St. Louis spare ribs in. I made up a new barbecue rub, different from our regular baby back ribs we put on there. We smoke those for 5 hours, and then every hour I made up this little I call it love juice, and we go out there and spritz them every hour on the hour.
Really?
And then we'll put a little brown sugar on the top of them at the end for the last half hour to kind of caramelize it.
Oh, that's nice. Wow, so you have a lot to offer here. This is outstanding.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming over.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to hit on sports-wise, so my old restaurant, Frasher Steakhouse, that was a St. Louis-style restaurant, and we had all St. Louis memorabilia, and we did bus trips every time St. Louis teams came into town. Well, this barbecue joint here, this is a Phoenix-style restaurant, and we have the Phoenix teams is
Gotcha.
who we're supporting here.
Very
This is a nod to spring training. All these pennants up here, all these teams have played in Arizona. This was actually the first game played, Major League Baseball game, 1927. Detroit Tigers versus Pittsburgh Pirates.
In Arizona?
Yes, in Arizona.
Oh, wow, you're kidding me.
And then these are all the National League teams that currently train here. Those are all the American League teams that train here.
Oh, nicely
The Yankees
done.
trained here in 53. The Red Sox trained here for about 7 years, from 58 or 59 to like 67. It wasn't the Houston Astros, but it was the team before them, the Houston Colt 45s, that trained here. And then actually, before the Milwaukee Brewers, they were the Seattle Pilots, and they trained here for a season.
Oh, my, this is great. I really like what you've done here, and it's really a good place. So we encourage everyone to come down here. It's you're open till 8 o'clock. You open at what
11.
time?
11 to 8, 7 days a week.
That's awesome. That's plenty of time, and you probably do you do catering? I should ask.
We do lots of catering.
Okay, so that's something for listeners to...
We actually smoked a whole pig for the Thunderbirds for their kickoff for the Waste Management Open.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So,
oh, my.
So we do a lot of catering.
And you smoke it all here, right?
Yeah. We got
right
a smoker
here?
right out here in the front.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, George.
Hey, I appreciate your time.
Oh, it's great. I appreciate you having us come out here. This is a great place, and we will be back, as Arnie used to say, right?
Hey, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Okay, you too. And wow, so we're up close to our break right now, and that was George Frasher. We're doing our live remote at Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down. We're here till 4, but they're open to 8, and I got to tell you,
it is amazing.
8 rhymes with 8, and if you want to eat, that's the other tense of 8. You got to come here. So I
don't know about what you just said, but it is amazing. The cream corn was outstanding.
Isn't this good?
So even with not just the barbecue, probably the best I've ever had, but that cream corn is very unique.
It is unique.
With the perfect amount of spice in it as well. That really is great.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We should give a shout out. What's your names again?
Nicole and
Caitlin. You guys are awesome service. We really appreciate you. Phenomenal, and they're blushing. And wow, this is so exciting. Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
And sorry, posing for a picture here.
Yeah, picture.
And while we do that, I'll just mention, definitely 32nd Street in the Indian School, Frasher Smokehouse, just amazing. The barbecue here. It's just outstanding. There's a uniqueness to it.
There really is. I just love this place, no doubt about it. And so we, at 3 o'clock, we're expecting Lindsay McCormick, broadcaster, NFL analyst, actress. She's multi-talented. She's been on our show many times. And we will talk to her hopefully at 3 o'clock. We also have Wes Grendon coming up next. Big Patriot fan. He's happy, no doubt about that. And that's exciting. Talk a little bit about football. The king of sports, they say. Football. I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, it probably is. Okay, but we're Real Hockey Talk. We're about to break into Breakthrough Sports. We're at Frasher Smokehouse, 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down, and we'll be right back.
NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Breakthrough Sports live on NBC Radio, Sports Radio, I should say, AM 1060 KDUS. We're broadcasting live from Frasher Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down. We're here till 4. They're open till 8. Great food. You won't regret it. I guarantee it. And, wow, right now whoa, Mike Smallwood has dropped the drink. But, hey, the lid worked. See, that's another testimony for this place. The lids do work. We have joining us in studio Wes Grundon, a big Patriot fan.
Yes, sir. I'm on the board of directors of the New England Patriots Fan Club of Arizona.
Oh, nice. Okay. A big crowd during the Super Bowl, of course. And I believe on the line is Lindsay McCormick, broadcaster, NFL analyst, and actress. Lindsay, are you there?
I am here. I am so glad that the Super Bowl chaos has cleared out, because that was my crazy week.
Yeah, it must have been busy. You're down there in Houston. Of course, you grew up in Houston, right?
I did. So it was neat to, I mean, we've had the Super Bowl before here, but it was different because the first time it was here, I didn't get to work it. I didn't get to cover the game, but I mean, I just enjoyed it as a fan because I was much younger. But after going to all the different cities year in and year out and seeing the way the cities do the Super Bowl and how the fans come in and experience it, it's all very, very unique. So it was special for me to see how well Houston did this year during the Super Bowl. And I'm sure it'll be back here again, especially the way it seems like it was received by everybody.
Were you doing anything with NFL or the freelancer out there for the Super Bowl?
So I worked the Tony Dungy event with All Pro Dad, which is his big organization. And we did the Faith Family and Football Celebration. We had everyone from the first female NFL coach to Lee Steinberg to Tony Dungy. We had Spencer Tillman. The list went on. And then some of the current players that were playing in the game, they were part of our broadcast as well. So that was really special to be a part of that. And then I also got to do Great Day Houston with Deborah Duncan, who was one of my childhood idols growing up. And then on top of that, there were all the events. So I was at the Lee Steinberg event. I got to bring my dad to that, and they honored Earl Campbell. Vince Young was there. It was just such a special week.
Oh, man, you must have had just a lot of fun, but well-deserved. You've worked hard. You're quite the sports person. And, of course, you're also an actress. You had a movie come out, just a couple months ago, I believe, right?
Yeah, it came out on December 9th. It was called The Bounce Back. And it'll be out on iTunes and on demand in March and April. So you guys will have to check it out then.
Oh, yeah. That's very, very exciting. Well, let's talk some football. I know Wes is chomping at the bit to talk about his Patriots because I did pick Atlanta, and I thought, this is a shoo-in. Lucky I didn't go to sleep because I saw a really good comeback after, in the second half. Lindsay, were you shocked at any of this?
Oh, I mean, I had picked the Patriots to win, but I didn't expect for the first half to go the way that it did at all. Like I was kind of backing off my pick a little bit come halftime during the halftime performance. I was like, maybe I jumped the gun, thinking that Atlanta couldn't beat the Patriots with all of their experience that Brady and Belichick have. But they proved me right. I just didn't see the game going the way that it did. I don't think anybody did. And to be the first Super Bowl game to go into overtime was really exciting.
Yeah. So Wes, did you you must have been freaking out the first half, huh?
Well, my wife actually sent me a text at halftime because she's not a football fan. She wasn't with me, and she said, "What's the mood where you are?" And my response was, it's really optimistic here. I was with probably 200-300 at least other Patriots fans. And I said, no one can make adjustments at halftime like Belichick and the Patriots, Brady. And that they made the adjustments and they won.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
I was shocked too. And but at least it made it from a boring game to an exciting game.
Right. It was definitely
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, I think so, and that's always a lot of fun. So Lindsay, do you think there were some coaching issues on Atlanta side that helped the Patriots come back? Because I think one of our other co-hosts last week told us that Atlanta only ran 5 times in the second half, and would that have been a mistake? Because if they ran more, perhaps the clock would have run out quicker, and then the Patriots may not have had enough time to come back. Is that how you see it too?
Possibly. They definitely should have ran the ball more, but I think that just the halftime adjustment Belichick made with that team was outstanding. I mean, you could see him out there with his little notebook in the first half, and I said to myself, okay, Belichick's got something up his sleeve. They're going to definitely make halftime adjustments. But also, I think the Patriots defense really brought their A game coming out after halftime. Because I didn't...
Right, they were penetrating on the run plays, except for that one long run by Freeman. If you look at the running plays that they did have, that Atlanta did have, the Patriots were penetrating, getting into the backfield, and making the hits in the backfield, so they weren't able to pick up yards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but running, they could have burned more time off the clock. When they were down after that Julio Jones amazing catch, if they had run that a couple of plays, maybe they could have gotten a field goal, and that would have changed the whole outcome. But if there was the penetration happening like we saw, then they could have been pushed back just like they were with the sack. Yeah,
but of course, after the game, hindsight 20/20. But nevertheless, you're in the big game. I don't know. I just feel sometimes coaches can be, responsible for a win or a loss, maybe, X% of time. I think this is a case where they may have, had he taken it back, if he had to do a redo, I bet he would have had different plays in the second half.
Well, Patriot haters, as I call them, are saying that the Patriots got the win because of coaching this time, and also because of what Pete Carroll did at the end of the game 2 years ago.
Oh, that was upsetting, because I got to tell you, I'm a Seattle fan, and I was like freaking out. I go, oh, they're going to win, and then boom, right? Everyone was. So, Lindsay, how do you see the whole thing with the coaches? You think they, X% they can actually be directly responsible by their moves and strategy?
I think the relationship between the coach and the quarterback, it varies depending on who your quarterback is. I think with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, they have a very different relationship than Belichick and Brady do. I think that's
true. Yeah.
I think that Russell Wilson wanted to be the star of that game. And I think Pete Carroll wanted to let him do that, and that wasn't the smartest move. I think in Brady and Belichick's case, the ball should always go to Tom Brady. But it was funny. I saw something this past week. I think it was the Monday Morning Quarterback podcast with Peter King, and it was an interview with Tom Brady. And the thing that was so interesting to me that he said was, it didn't feel like we were losing as bad as we were in that first half. Because to me, I felt like we were playing some decent football. We just weren't being productive. I'm like, well, how is that playing decent football if you're not being productive? But it was funny. His mentality going into halftime was, okay, like we're still in this. We're playing well. But it didn't appear that way to the rest of America.
Well, that's a great mindset to have. And that's why maybe they're such great leaders, Brady and, of course, the coach, Belichick. But and in sports, let's face it, the mental aspect is huge.
Oh, yeah.
And, you can have more physical talent, but still beat those with physical talent if you have the mental edge. And both Wes and Lindsay, you go first on that, the mental aspect.
I just think that it's everything in this game. Obviously there's a huge physical component, but if you're not mentally there, what do they always say? They always get on the quarterback for poor body language because then it rubs off on the rest of the team. Look at what Tim Tebow was able to do with the Broncos and what Brady's been able to do when he gets fired up. And same with Peyton Manning. When you have a good leader with positive energy and a positive mindset, even if I think Tim Tebow is the most perfect example of that. He was not the greatest. He was not even a great quarterback, to be honest. But yet, he still had that mental aspect that willed his team to win. And they had a great defense, I know, but I think sometimes leaders possess certain things that just aren't physical ability. And Brady's one of those. I mean, anytime you've got the ball in Brady's hands or Aaron Rodgers' hands, you never know how a game is going to end, no matter how far behind they are. I mean, look, the Cowboys learned it the hard way with Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. Wes, mental.
My old high school coach said, "The attitude of the leaders determines the altitude of the team."
Oh, there you go.
I love that.
I mean, attitude is huge in the leadership of the team, because if you have someone who is so positive and so upbeat, they're going to bring the team up with them. Whereas if you have someone who's just, a player who's good at what they do but doesn't have the mental attitude to go with it, it's not going to have as much effect on the team. He may be a better player, like you said, physically, have better abilities, but it's the mental attitude that raises up the rest of the team.
Yeah, there's no question. Go ahead, Lindsay.
I think that's any profession, too. I mean, I feel like I've kept some jobs just because people either wanted to be around me or I was positive, but not necessarily the best broadcaster. So I think that can be said for any profession.
Well, Lindsay, I think you have a great attitude. I know you're very positive. I mean, I remember the first time you came in our studio, one of our other shows, and you have what it takes, and you've proven with your determination, your skill set, your attitude, you're doing what you have dreamed of doing, and that's a credit to you. Most people are not living the dream, but you are.
Well, thank you. It's a very nice compliment.
Yeah, and she's a remarkable talent, and we appreciate everything you do. So is this? How long is Tom Brady going to play, Lindsay? What do you think? And then we'll ask Wes too.
Well, he's told us. He said next season will for sure not be my last. And when he's joked that he could, the way his diet and exercise regime is, that he could go 10 more years. I don't think we'll see him for 10 more years. But I do think that I think it'll be season by season. He'll reevaluate depending on how well the team does, the talent around him. I mean, what are the odds of them getting back to the big game again? But I do see him playing for another four or so years.
Nice. How old is he? Like 32?
39.
Brady's 39?
Yes.
I was off by 7. He's 39. He looks so young.
Yeah, he's 39, and
oh my!
I think it's going to be 3 to 5 years. You're going to see him still playing as long as he doesn't have any serious injuries. And then I'm not sure which track he's going to take after that. I can see him being a backup type quarterback, like Blanda was a backup quarterback up until he was in his mid-40s.
That's right.
And then you might see Brady doing that, or I definitely see him going into coaching at some point too, because the attitude and the way he works with the other players, I think he's just made to be a coach when he actually retires from playing.
One thing he will not do, and Greg will appreciate this, is he will not go in the business of air pumps. All right, I had to get that joke in. Just kidding.
I think it fell a little flat, though.
Yeah, that was good. No, I definitely honor Tom Brady for his talent. I mean, I guess everyone's now saying he's probably the best quarterback in the history of the game. Lindsay, is that true, in your opinion?
I mean, it's hard to compare because the game has changed so much as well. But I love watching Joe Montana play back in the day. I mean, look, he was perfect in the 4 Super Bowls he played in. He was 4-0 and didn't throw a single interception in those games. So to me, before this past Super Bowl, I would have said Joe Montana, greatest quarterback of all time. But now I think Tom Brady is giving him a run for his money. It's especially after that game, to lead your team back from that deficit. I think it's just different. It's like comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron. Right now, Jordan's my all-time favorite NBA player, and I think the best basketball player of all time. But LeBron they're different. It's how do you compare?
It is tough, different eras and stuff like that. My favorite Playboy was Joe Willie Namath, Broadway Joe. Okay, but not the greatest quarterback of all time, but a good quarterback nevertheless. Wes, wait, let's get Mike in here. Tom Brady, best quarterback ever?
Oh, don't put me in that position.
Oh, he doesn't like the Patriots. I forgot.
I can't stand the Patriots.
Oh my God, we got a Patriot fan here. All right, so
hey, I'm still seeking counseling from the Tuck game. Okay.
Yeah. That's okay, Wes. You're going to say probably yes.
I think that this last Super Bowl just set the mark that
460 something yards or whatever,
and he is the only quarterback to win 5 Super Bowls.
Impressive.
And
even I can't.
Nobody's won any more postseason.
I can't argue with that situation. Though.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with that, and there's been a lot of great quarterbacks, but he has shown a mark of consistency, and that's what makes superstars. How consistent you are from year to year. So that's awesome. So, Lindsay, where do your travels take you next?
So next I will be in Austin, Texas, not too far from Houston, and filming a new movie with Regina Hall and Brooklyn Decker.
Really? What? Are you allowed to say much about what the movie is? Or
I can't yet. The production company was in Sundance this year with a movie called Lemon, and they did really well. So it'll be fun to work with them in Austin, and we'll be filming in April.
Now, what part do you have? Last time you were a broadcaster in your last movie.
This one's much different. The whole movie centers around. I don't really know how much I can and can't say, but the whole movie centers around a restaurant in Austin. So it's definitely a lot different than the Bounce Back, and different. I definitely won't be playing a talk show host this time, so it'll be more of a stretch.
Wow, how fun! But you enjoy that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different than broadcast. With broadcast, it's very factual. I mean, sports, you have the whole storyline, and especially with this Super Bowl, it was a fun one to watch. But it's very different than broadcast. Broadcast is very centered around the facts. Acting is more emotional. So I like being able to balance the two because they are so different.
Now, when you're famous as an actress, you'll remember us, won't you?
It's hard to forget you guys. I'll always remember you guys.
It's been a while, a couple of years. Lindsay's always awesome. So your travels, that's really exciting. So do you have to, how long is the shoot? Are you going to be there for months or?
No, most movies take about 2 months to film, is what I've learned, unless it's a huge studio film. But we'll be there for the month of April. Nice.
In Austin. Wow. That is very cool. So, and then after that, are you going to do more sports, or what? Where else may your life lead?
That's to be determined. It's like Tom Brady. We don't know what's going to happen with him, how long he's going to play. I think for me, I'm just taking each experience one season at a time and seeing what comes of it. I mean, I'm still hoping Mayweather will come out of retirement to fight Conor McGregor, because that's one boxing match I would love to cover.
Really? Now, is that a possibility, do you think?
Well, I know Conor McGregor filed for his boxing license, and I know he's been training. I don't think Dana White would be too happy with it, as he's let us know. But I could definitely see Mayweather. I know that's been a big topic of discussion the past week. I think Mayweather had told Stephen A. Smith that it's some NBA game they ran into each other, and he said, "Hey, the fight is in the works, and we've almost everything settled." And so Stephen A. Smith went on his show and told everyone that. And then Mayweather had to come back and say, no, there's not a fight yet. I'm not coming out of retirement just yet. So I think it would be a smart move for both Conor McGregor and Mayweather, because people don't expect Conor to beat Mayweather in boxing. And Mayweather's legacy has kind of been set as one of the most creative and unique boxing promoters in a sense of all time. He kind of has done everything in terms of Mayweather, in the way Mayweather promotions and the way he's promoted himself as a boxer throughout his career is very unique to any other boxer we've ever seen. So I don't think it would be. I think it would be a perfect ending to Mayweather's career if he came out of retirement and fought a UFC fighter and then shut it down for good. I mean, it's just very. When I covered the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, he walked in with a 10, 20-piece marching band. You know, he doesn't do things small, and he is always thinking out of the box. And especially the amount of money they would both make off of that fight, I know would be one that it would be a smart move financially for both.
Yeah, big payday. Now, what rules would they use? They couldn't use UFC-type rules.
No, it would definitely be boxing. There's no way Mayweather would agree to a UFC fight, for sure.
No, he would lose quickly, pound and ground.
Yeah.
But, wow, that is so interesting. Yeah, I follow UFC. I like it, actually. I just saw Holly Holm lose and to, I forgot who she lost to. But anyway, Mike, you said you have a quick story that will delight us all about the Patriots.
Oh, my supervisor who I work. Of course, I'm a Raider fan, and I share an office with my supervisor, and he's a big Patriots fan. And we always talk about football, and I was asking him, is he going to go and watch the game with in a sports bar with the rest of his friends? He said, no, I need to be at my house in the same spot every time whenever they're playing the Super Bowl. I don't want anybody disturbing me. So then I was thinking about him during the Super Bowl because I was up there getting text messages, so I wasn't even watching most of it, and I witnessed the entire comeback. But anyway, he was telling me that he remembered how his furniture was arranged 2 years ago when they won. So he took all the furniture in his house, or all the furniture in his room, and rearranged it back to what it was 2 years ago. And his wife walks in, is like, what in the world are you doing? And he sat there, after he rearranged the furniture back to where it was 2 years ago, and sat there and watched the comeback.
Oh, my gosh. This guy, what's his lottery pick? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe,
forget halftime adjustments, forget coaching. That's what turned it
Just move
around
the furniture.
For the Patriots.
It's called feng shui move.
Oh, there you go.
Wow,
that's what he did. I mean, his wife thought he was nuts and everything else, and I thought it was hilarious because he takes the next day off. He goes, so I didn't see him until Tuesday afterwards. I was saying, I guess you're pretty happy. What was going through your mind? And that's when he told me that story. I was on the floor laughing.
Oh, that's funny. That is just too funny. Well, Lindsay, it's always a pleasure having you on. We're coming up against a hard break, and we'd love to have you on again, just see how you're doing with the movies, acting, and what is next in your future. So thank you so much for calling.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So you take care, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Lindsay. Lindsay McCormick. She's a talent. She's an incredible talent. So she's going to be doing a lot in her young life and a lot of things to go. So Wes, you got to be excited. The hangover, what do you call it? The hangover for the Patriots is still lingering, right?
I don't call it a hangover. I call it
a joyful celebration. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, but like Belichick said, there's no days off. They got to start looking at their free agency. You've got Martellus Bennett's a free agent. Butler's a free agent. You have a lot of free agency. Dante Hightower, their middle linebacker. All of those are free agents. So you're going to have to start looking, are you going to put a franchise tag on Hightower? Right. Bennett says, if you win a Super Bowl, you tend to get overpaid. So does that mean that he's looking to go someplace else? But then again, Patriots have a history of paying tight ends really well, and there's still some uncertainty with Gronkowski as far as his back injury, and Bennett's a proven commodity. So there's a lot of things that the Patriots need to look at.
Yeah, well, this is great. So, wow, we have 1 minute left in the segment. We're scheduled to have Sean Donnelly from Rick Bronson's House of Comedy coming in at 3:30, and of course, it is sort of wet out there, isn't it? the rain and the snow is fast and furious. No, there's no snow here. I bet in Flagstaff there's snow, though.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah.
And so, Wes, thank you for stopping by, and Mike, and maybe we'll still have you on if it was too rainy for Sean Donnelly to show up. We'll see. And we are at, of course, the great Frasher's Smokehouse, 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down. We're here another half hour. They're open till 8 tonight. Get your barbecue here. It sounds like a baseball game. Get your barbecue. Okay, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Luis Gonzalez of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Join my friend Brian Krebs every Thursday from 8 to 8:30 p.m. on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Breakthrough Sports live on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, KDUS in Phoenix, Arizona. We're broadcasting from Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road in Phoenix. Come on down. We're here for another half hour. They're open till 8. Great food. I'm Dave Isaac, and we have Wes Grundon here. Did I pronounce your name right?
Grundon, yes.
Wow, can you believe it? Mike Smallwood, I know that, and Greg is here as well. We're expecting Sean Donnelly from Rick Bronson's House of Comedy, but it is sort of wet outside, and he may be delayed. I know he has some shows tonight, I believe 7:30 and 9:30, but check Rick Bronson's House of Comedy, very funny guy. But let's talk about, first of all, you, Wes, you had some type of announcement on a girls' tackle league?
Well, yes. There's a girls' tackle football league, a Pop Warner-type league for girls 3rd grade through high school that's coming to the Valley. They are looking for players, coaches, and sponsors, of course. Basically the goal for this league is to get the girls to have more empowerment and have more confidence, leadership abilities, team building, respect for each other, and to be confident in creating their goals and dreams in their life. And there's really one good way to get more information. It's go to azgirlstacklefootball.com. That's azgirlstacklefootball.com. Or you can call 480-524-5686. And like I said, they're looking for coaches as well as players. And if you are interested in doing some type of a sponsorship with the league, you can do that as well.
Thank you very much. And it looks like we will have Sean Donnelly braving the rain, and he'll be in here in about a minute or two. But, Mike, you wanted to say something really quick about the Raiders, that they're not going to Las Vegas probably.
I wish I had to say so in that situation, but I don't.
Oh, man. Well, that's sort of cool. I thought it was going to be a go, but I guess some of the financial people backed out, and that won't happen now. So I guess Raiders, maybe San Diego. That'd be a nice fit, right?
There is an article out that's saying that there's some private investors that are looking to put some money down to build a stadium, a privately owned stadium. It sounds good. I mean, it sounds good to me because I think the Raiders belong in California. Yeah. But you know what? I'm not going to pay too much attention to any of that talk until I actually see the bulldozers come in, knocking down old Qualcomm, and starting to build up the new stadium.
Yeah. Hopefully that happens. I don't know. I think that was the problem with the Chargers, right? That the city.
Well, these guys. I mean, these are private guys that are coming in.
Okay.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I was even written in the first place.
So that might work out well. Well, poor Raider fans. I mean, in Oakland, they come, they go, they come, they go. I mean,
there was about 80% Raider fans at the last San Diego Charger game.
Oh wow!
And the reporters in San Diego and all that. I mean, Antonio Gates and all that. They had to go to a silent count, for the game and all because there was just. I mean, because. People from our own fan club here in Phoenix and all other Valley Raider fans were all there at Qualcomm. I didn't make it that weekend, but they were all there watching the game.
Wow, that is very cool. And this must be Sean Donnelly. Hey, come on in. All right, so let's get you with the headset on. And this, hey, how are you? Nice seeing you again. This is called live radio, where we're going on the fly like in hockey.
Yeah.
Move that. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Oh my God, I feel like a defensive lineman coach, whatever.
Yeah, you are. Well, Sean, nice to see you. Thank you for coming on our show today on NBC Sports Radio.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Now you got a show going on tonight, I believe.
We have 2 shows tonight at the house, Rick Bronson's House of Comedy over on High Street.
Great venue.
Great venue.
Oh, really?
We have. I just realized how much we look alike. Jesus Christ! Look at this.
Yeah, which one is the real Sean?
I got a little more hair.
We look like we own a tire shop together. Look, this is insane. We should go hunting after this. Look, we were in camo even in regular outside.
I was going to say Duck Dynasty. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Duck Dynasty.
That's
Yeah.
what came to my mind.
Exactly.
Hey, I could be the guy before you, right?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, why don't you open up? And then we have one show on Sunday night, and then I go back to New York City on Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it is a great place, Rick Bronson's House of Comedy.
It is.
And he's such a nice guy. He's a
great guy. And he's a comic as well, so that helps. When a comic running a comedy club is like a dream come true.
Yeah, it really is. So tell us about, I think you worked with David Letterman. You were on his show for...
Well, yeah, I did a spot on David Letterman probably about a year and a half before it ended.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was my first late night spot, so it was like a dream come true.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He is very popular. Yeah.
He's super popular. He has a crazy following.
Yeah.
And to the point where I heard the last year or 2 of his show, he didn't even use any of what the writers did. He just went out and talked.
Oh, wow.
The writers would write a whole show, but he would just go out and pontificate, and people loved it because they loved him so much.
Oh, yeah. He was great.
But I was like, that experience was unbelievable because the weird part about it is you don't even meet him. The only time I met him is if you watch the set, you see him come up to me afterwards and say thank you. That's the only time I met him.
Wow.
He wouldn't meet. I heard with the celebrity guests he did it so the conversation was fresh. But with comics, I guess he just did it because he was busy or whatever it was. But when he comes over, I figured it would be a very apathetic, thanks.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 30 years, I'll see you later kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He was very genuine and very nice and very appreciative.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
That is cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself. When you first knew you'd be a comic, what was the passion that drove you? Were you funny in school? Usually that's the case.
Yes, I was funny. I wasn't the type of funny where I was voted class clown, but I was funny with my friends. Oh, thank you, man. I was funny with my friends, and I was funny at home at the dinner table. If I could make my dad laugh at the dinner table, if I could crush and kill at the dinner table, I knew I had a good day coming.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So that's I always loved stand-up. So I used to listen to George Carlin records with my dad. My dad had Class Clown on vinyl, and I would listen to that with I don't know if you remember that record with the Hippy Dippy Weatherman, and he's at 78 at the airport, which is stupid because I don't know anybody who lives at the airport.
Right.
And so I was a big George Carlin fan as a kid, and then when I got older, I got into radio a bunch and would listen to Opie and Anthony in New York and Howard Stern and a lot of the comics they would have on. And then I was a big fan of Jim Gaffigan, and Brian Regan was one of my early guys that I loved. Brian Regan's album was a big deal to me. I used to watch him on TV all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So I always wanted to do it. I got older, never had enough guts to do it. Then got to the point where I was living in New York City, and I went to an open mic. And it's funny. It's not a very romantic story to say this, but if you go to an open mic, I don't know if you guys ever been to one, it's so bad, you'll go, oh, I can do that. You'll go, oh, that's bad enough. Oh, I can go up there and be this bad.
Yeah.
So that kind of relieved the nerves a little bit, and I was like, I can have a couple beers and a shot and go up and be as bad as that last person was.
Oh, that's funny.
Because it's usually open mics are just a bunch of weird guys doing comedy or whatever it is. So, and then you don't realize it when you first start out. So once I realized that, I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then I did it. I loved it, and I've been going. I'm almost 11 years in.
Oh, wow. And so what happens? You travel all through the country? Is that what happens?
So I'll travel. I was just in Hartford, Connecticut. Before that, I was in Syracuse. I go home for 2 days, and then I go to Montreal, Canada, and then I come home for a couple weeks, and then I go to Minneapolis, and then I go to Pennsylvania somewhere, and I go Tampa and Vermont, and it's all over the place.
So let me ask you this. You go in different geographical areas. Do you have to revise or do a different show depending on the geography? Like some people get one type of show, others may not understand it, so you got to switch it up. How does that work?
Yeah, you kind of have to tailor what your jokes are for where you are. So I learned that early on. I've been headlining for 3 years, and what I learned is I have New York jokes that I'll do on the road because they're relatable enough. But I used to have Subway jokes I did on the road. I would do on the road, and I learned very on that nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Subway,
kind of sandwich shops, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. They think you're talking about Jared from Subway, right? Exactly. Or Subway.
Just curious, what did you do before you were a stand-up? You said you went to an open mic, but you were working.
I did a bunch of stuff. I used to. I was a doorman in New York City for like 2 or 3 years. I got fired from being a doorman, which is.
Did you not open the door?
I left the door open. That's exactly.
And you got fired for that?
I got fired for that because we propped the door open. We used to do it because we were running around and we just propped the door open. And the owner of the building, his son came through and asked me why the door was propped open, and I didn't know it was the owner's son, and I gave him a wise answer because I thought he was kidding, and he freaked out and he fired me the next day.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's totally true.
But look at a blessing from that.
Absolutely, because if I probably wouldn't be doing comedy if I still had that job because I worked 3 to 11. You would work nighttime.
One door gets propped, the next door opens. Hey, I might be able to do that.
I like that. Yeah,
I'll give you props for that.
Can I use that on the thing? Yeah,
you could use it.
That was good. I like that. Yeah,
I think that's really
One door
cool.
gets held open, you get fired. New door opens. There you go.
So, how do you like New York?
I love it. I do think it makes you a. I like leaving because you get burnt out on it a little bit. You know, I think it makes you a worse person sometimes in New York. I think because you're so huddled in there with everybody that it gets too crowded. And then you come out here in Arizona, you can just run in the desert and free like an antelope and just hang out.
Yeah, I don't know about an antelope. A coyote maybe.
Yeah. Coyote, right? Yeah. Exactly. Whatever.
But wow, that is so cool. Have you been to Times Square during New Year's Eve?
I've been there after New Year's. I've been there.
You missed it by a day.
No, I've been there the night of.
Oh.
After everything happened. I don't know anybody why people even go. Have you been there?
You know, I was invited every year. We have the producer.
Don't go.
I know, and he's invited us each time on our entertainment show, and I've. To me, it sounds like, oh my God, in front of a million people, and if
you can't. The way the security is now, you can't move first of all, and you can't get out of the area. If you leave, you can't get back in.
Oh.
So people show up at 7 in the morning and don't leave until the next 1 in the morning. And
that
so
gives
people
a new meaning for doggy bag.
Right, exactly. People literally wear diapers the whole time they're there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like, it's crazy.
I know but I do enjoy Anderson Cooper and Kathy Griffin.
They're super funny. Yeah.
We've had Kathy on our show before.
Oh, very nice.
She's very, very funny.
Very funny. Yeah.
But yeah, I know people that want to go, but it's like, man, it just seems so. I think about it, and I feel really closed in
it's
and
claustrophobic. I'm not even claustrophobic, but it makes me claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And also, I was at a party in Manhattan on New Year's Eve when I was like in my 20s, and we went to Times Square to check it out after it, at 2 in the morning, and it looks like the apocalypse. There's like fires everywhere.
Oh, wow.
There's 3 fights breaking out. Like it's just,
really?
the dregs of society over there.
Oh man, yeah. But anyway, I was curious if you went.
Really, no, I just don't go because I'm from New York, and we don't I've never been to the Statue of Liberty, and I've lived in New York my whole life. There's certain things when you're in New York you just don't go do.
Yeah. How about Disneyland?
Disneyland? I've been to Disney World, not Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
Disney World I've been to.
That's a cool place. I hear it's much better than the one in Orange County.
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
It's bigger.
I love that.
Yeah.
I get made fun of because when I went a while ago, I went to the Murder, She Wrote exhibit.
Oh, wow. Really?
Where they show you how an episode of Murder, She Wrote is made. And don't tell your friends that. They'll bust your chops forever on that.
Yeah, we're getting texts right now about that. So tell us, who do you model yourself after when you do your stand-up comedy? Who would say, hey, he reminds me of... it's funny. You know, a lot of the time I think the way I talk, the other night somebody said George Carlin, but I don't think my act is like George Carlin, but I think I kind of look like I'm like a fatter version, and I think I sound like him at times and how I say things. So, but not the topics. I talk about myself a lot, so I don't really model myself after anybody. The mountaintop of comedy that I think is the thing I would aspire to is Patrice O'Neill. Do you remember Patrice O'Neill? I think
you know Kathy
I do.
Griffin. You know Patrice O'Neill. That he died a few years ago. But the way he did comedy was you couldn't tell if he was riffing or if he was telling you a joke.
Gotcha.
So that's not to get too inside baseball as far as comedy talk goes, but that's what you want. You want to go up there and just make it sound like you're talking, and it's not rehearsed jokes.
Like seamless.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and I think at times I have that, but I think it. I'm only 10 years in. You need experience to get that done. Like Louis C.K. to give you an example of a famous person that does that. Louis C.K. goes up and he just talks in bits. That's just he just can, whatever it is. He doesn't have to, he's not trial and erroring it. He's just talking, and most of the stuff he's saying is probably funny because he's worked it out in his head already.
It reminds me of someone that I think did that, Gary Shandling.
Yeah.
I thought he was fantastic.
Amazing.
I saw him several times, and even though it's the same jokes, it sounded like it was just improvised. And that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what you want. You want it to sound like it's improvised. That's why I'll do a lot of crowd work, and I try to go from crowd work into a joke, and try to make it as seamless as I can.
Oh, that's cool. Now, hecklers. I always ask the comedians, what about hecklers? Have you had them? How do you handle them? What's the rules of the game?
I'll tell you two things. I don't get too many of them because of how my act is. I'll go into the crowd right away. So I think people get scared away a little bit to really shout anything out because they know that I don't mind talking to the audience.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of it. And the second thing, one of the best things I ever heard about hecklers is and crowd work is Patton Oswalt. You know who Patton Oswalt is? He said in an interview once, the only thing you do with hecklers and crowd work is you give them enough rope to hang themselves. So the minute they heckle, if you ask them enough questions, they'll say something dumb enough to be funny already, and then you just pounce on that.
Wow.
So it's a pretty easy thing to do if you know what you're looking for.
We've had many comedians come through, the House of Comedy, and I can't remember which one it was, but he said there's a difference between a heckler and someone that is completely intoxicated.
Yes, there is.
How do you handle that, man?
You can't. There's one thing in comedy that you can't handle, or I don't have enough experience to do yet. It's to handle is the completely intoxicated person who just makes noises.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can't have.
They're not
logic.
listening.
You can't reason with them.
Right.
So I did a show. It was at a gay bar in New York City. It was a gay cowboy saloon in New York City, and it's.
I saw that movie.
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain.
No, the other one. That before.
with
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What was it called?
I forget. Yeah, no, but it was. I forget the name of the place.
Yeah, Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah,
right?
But when you do comedy, you take spots wherever you can. And there was a guy. This is how you knew it was a gay cowboy bar because you walked in and it smelled like cleaning products. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be offensive, but you know what I'm talking about, right? It wasn't like your regular dive type of place. You walked in and it was like immaculate, first of all, and it smelled like cleaning products. And I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying that, not whatever. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, here's the deal. But at that bar, I had a guy at that show. This is I'm 2 years into comedy. You're doing bar shows in New York. I had a guy in the back. It was a guy who was so loaded, he just kept saying every time I would open my mouth. He would just yell, that's it. And there's literally nothing you can say to that. So I go, so you almost shut down, especially when you're only 2 years into comedy. I go, well, there's nothing else I can do if you won't be quiet. And then they got him kicked out of the place, and then it went fine after that. But you cannot defend against just noise. There's nothing. Now, I don't know how to.
So I'm just wondering then, based on what you just said, if a comedy club, probably the better comedy clubs, when they spot that, do they remove the person very quickly?
They police it right away, yeah.
Because it would be bothersome to a comic, I think, or anyone on stage.
It'd be bothersome to anybody.
Yeah.
I think even most pros that I know, you do that, there's really no bouncing. You're not letting somebody speak. You're acting like a 4-year-old. You can't get your jokes out. What are you supposed to do?
And if you read the fine print on the tickets you get for Brownson's House of Comedy, it does say that hecklers will be removed.
Oh, it does. Okay, good.
Yeah.
The audience doesn't. They don't want to hear that either, right? The audience, not hecklers.
Okay. Well, I got to admit, sometimes there's been a couple times where there's been some good hecklers, but the great comedian makes the heckler great because of how they handle it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't want them if you're just saying something. You want to be able to. If you talk to them and it works out, it works out. But no, on the comedian side of things, no comedian is hoping for a heckler.
No.
Because you do crowd work anyway, and if you do crowd work, you're talking to them anyway. You can get some good stuff out of that anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you have somebody just yelling out of turn, and then you can cause a lot of problems. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I have no problem handling it, but I'm not asking for it. That kind of thing.
I always wondered. Like athletes, they'll say they're in the zone. They can just tell when they're in the zone, and they can tell when they're not in the zone. Mm-hmm. Same with comics. Mm-hmm. Do you have that beforehand, like, wow, I'm just going to kill it today, or do you ever get in the zone like that?
I think you have. Yeah, I think you have it. I think what happens is when you start going, you know that you're on a roll. So I think from the very beginning of the set, you know how it's going to go, probably, because of how the opening goes and how, especially with a 45-minute set, it's such a different animal than just like a 10-minute or a 5-minute late-night set that you have to. It has to build. You have to be killing the entire time. It's kind of a hard thing to do. So when you're up there, if you can kind of gauge the vibe of the audience right away, and that's when you know, like, you're feeling it and they're feeling it, or they're not feeling it but you're feeling. Right away you pick up on 20 different things.
So do you this immediate feedback that what you're talking about with an audience?
Yeah.
Are you able to adjust? Like we talked about football. Wes was saying, at halftime the Patriots made their best at adjusting to win. Are you able to have that immediate feedback and adjust your routine to match the audience?
Yeah,
that's a talent.
Depending on how it's going, like most comics can do it. You get to a certain point, you can do it.
Wow.
If you're doing a longer set, most comics, if certain jokes aren't working, you're thinking. Steve Martin talks about it in his book. Whatever joke you're saying, you're thinking 2 jokes ahead from what you're saying. So if you're saying jokes that you've done a bunch before, you're telling it, and literally, based on that reaction, you're deciding what you're going to do. I did it last night. You're deciding from there what joke you're going to do next.
So you have to have an enormous amount of material.
A good amount of material. Yeah, you need an hour and a half of material, the minimum to do it, because you need to know what to switch up and what not to.
How many comics don't have really material, but they just go off the cuff?
Just that?
Just improv.
I know very few that.
That's hard, isn't it?
That's part of my act. I think it's part of anybody's act is crowd work, especially on the road. You'll have that happen. But the road lends itself a lot to, like, you're riffing and you're doing crowd work a lot, because sometimes it's to fill time, but sometimes it's because of the reaction of the audience. If one thing doesn't work like it does in New York City or like it works in California, you have to adjust, and then you talk to somebody and you get into a joke that way. That's how my act is built. Very few. I know a couple of comics in New York that strictly do crowd work and strictly do riffing, and I think it's a great talent. I have a buddy of mine, my friend James, that does it great. But usually the main goal of a comic is you want to go up and you want to tell your jokes. So even if you're doing crowd work, the end goal is so I can get this joke out.
And I assume you write your own material.
I do, yeah.
How hard is that?
It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
Does it just come to you, or do you have to sit down, or just while you're doing something else, something comes up, or you look around and say, hey, that's funny. Let's make a joke about a certain lifetime situation.
I'm the guy who will think of an idea, jot it down in my book, and then I will work it out on stage. So I'll do those bar shows like I told you about in New York.
Yeah.
And I'll just talk, like try to get something out of it. Wow. And then when I hear a reaction that I want, I'll make a note of it, and it goes from there.
So do you sometimes use the crowd work just to get a feel of the crowd so you can know what jokes are going to work for that crowd? For example, up in that area, it's where you're going to Rick Bronson's. It's not uncommon to have a quite conservative audience, whereas New York, it's going to be a very liberal audience.
Yeah.
So do you often work the crowd to get that type of a feel for the crowd?
You do, and I'm not a political comic, but like literally. But one thing I got, like, I'll give you an example. Last night on the early show, I had a great set, but right in the middle, I have a Bernie Sanders joke, but it's not like a political joke. It's about him being old. And I said, if he was president, he'd do a bunch of old guy stuff if he became president. And one guy right away, when I said Bernie Sanders, one guy booed. And I got annoyed. And I went, I just told you I'm not political. It's about him being old. Like, you get mad right away. I'm like, even with that, even if you're gauging the vibe of the audience and if they're conservative, you kind of want to push back a little bit. Like, it's supposed to be a little bit of like, hey, this is stuff that you don't want to hear maybe all the time. I'm like, because I was killing for like 40 minutes, and then that guy booed. I'm like, how are you booing after I just gave you a good show?
Right.
After 40, how is that happening?
Maybe he's just booing Bernie.
He was booing Bernie.
Yeah, so not the show.
Yeah, right, but don't even do that. If I just
gotcha.
Don't let me say what I'm going to say, you don't even know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what got me annoyed. And I was able to make fun of him and get it back, but I shouldn't have had to do that. That's what annoys me.
I gotcha.
Let me finish my sentence before you freak out about when you think it's a rally. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
No, not to get too political, but that is one of the things you deal with. That kind of speaks to what you said. Like, you're gauging what you want to do, but you're not saying, hey, I better not do this because they might not like it. You switch after you do the thing they don't like. You switch it that way. You call an audible and you go that way. To do the sports reference.
I was waiting for that.
Here we go.
I love that. And so tell us contact information all about it. So tonight, Rick Bronson, House of Comedy, 7:30 and 9:30, right?
7:30, 9:30, right? Is that what it is? It's 7:30, 9:30.
And tomorrow?
Tomorrow night is 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. And it's Rick Bronson. I think it's houseofcomedy.net, correct? Houseofcomedy.net, and it's the Arizona House of Comedy. And for myself, I'm on Twitter at ShawneeTime, And if I could can I just plug one
Sure.
more thing? I have a new podcast. It's called Defend Your Movie, where
nice.
where you would come on and you would defend a movie that you love that nobody else does.
Oh,
so
wow.
we did one of the first ones we did was Cocktail with Tom Cruise from the 80s.
I like that, actually.
Yeah, but it's not technically a good movie. So there's
But
you can
the throwing of the bottles.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, right?
Who's a famous bartender? That's not a thing in the world.
I was trying that. I missed every one of them. I
Yeah,
can't believe
right.
it.
Yeah.
But what I really especially Elizabeth Shue. She was.
Well, we
pretty
talked
cute.
about that. The shoe factor.
Man.
That's a big deal.
That was a big factor.
Yeah, that's a big factor.
Like
a lot
the
of
O'Reilly
guys
factor.
get a crush,
Oh,
right?
not
Exactly.
the O'Reilly factor, but
no, I don't have a
You're
crush on
getting
O'Reilly.
political
yeah. Wow, I want to call. We have an entertainment show too, and I should call in and throw out a movie.
Let's
that,
do it.
Yeah, I
That'd be
like
great.
that because we review a lot of movies, but it has to be something I like that no one likes, right?
Yeah, like something you like that nobody else likes. Like somebody did Speed with Keanu Reeves, and then people give me grief about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, Speed is critically acclaimed. I'm like, no, it's not. It's,
Yeah,
a,
not
it's a movie
really.
about a bus that can't go below 50 miles. That's inherently a bad idea for
Yeah.
a movie. But it's an exciting movie to watch. It's fun to watch.
But
it's
they
still
had
bad.
the
It's a guilty
factor,
pleasure.
the girl, Sandra
Bullock.
That's a factor.
That's
too.
a factor too.
All
yeah.
right, see, wherever
There
you go, there's
so
a
that would be your
Baby-Rama.
defense. Your
Yeah.
defense would be, listen, my evidence is Sandra Bullock.
I think we should do this.
Let's do it.
I like La La Land. You like La La Land?
I didn't see it. I want to do that for the Oscars as
That's
like
good.
an Oscar special for the,
I thought
for
it
the
was,
show.
and we interviewed the writer of A Dog's Purpose. Great movie. I
Great.
really recommend A Dog's Purpose.
When it comes to dog stuff, I get
A
too,
phobia.
not a phobia. I get too upset. Like it's going to be too sad for me because I love dogs so much
Oh.
that I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can take it.
It's a cool movie though. I
It's
would
a cool
really
movie?
recommend it. It's still out. It's going well.
I gotta
and,
check it out.
Yeah, the writer was phenomenal. A couple times he's been on, but. Sean Donnelly, it's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Everyone get out there. Rick Bronson's House of Comedy tonight and tomorrow. See him 3 times, 7:30, 9:30, tomorrow 7. And it's a great place. Rick's
Awesome.
a great
Great
guy.
venue, easy to get to right off the 101.
Yeah,
So
it
easy.
really is.
It's like 10 minutes from
right
here.
on
Yeah.
and in High Street because it's called High Street and
Yeah.
in High Street.
Exactly.
Okay, and this is Breakthrough Thinking live at Frasher's Smokehouse, located at 3222 East Indian School Road. This is a great place. Come on down. We're signing off, but they're open till 8 every day. It's a great place. Thank you to all the guests, Sean and Wes and Mike and Greg. Where's everyone? And who else do we have? I forgot. Anyone? Okay. I'll remember after the show. No hecklers here except myself. And we'll see everyone next week.